Hello, everyone. Good morning to you from my end. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm so excited to open day two of the Ascension. Today is the grand finale, and I could not be more grateful for how far God has brought us. Yesterday, we were going for 8 hours. Today, we'll be done much sooner. We'll have about 5 hours, and we'll be done. So today we have fewer sessions, and then we are going to go into the AI and tech business pitch, and then we'll have our global awards. As you come into the room, let me know where you are joining from. Tell me your name, tell me where you're joining from so I can shout out to you. Oh, I see Oli. Oli is here already. Oli says, welcome. He's happy to be here for day two. He's joining us from Belgium. He's a language enthusiast. Thank you so much, Oli, for being so early in the room. Thank you all for being here today. It's just been a whole journey of learning, collaboration, teamwork that has brought together a conference where we are having over 29 speakers between these 2 days from about 14 different countries. It's not a job I could have done just by myself, and I keep giving credit to all the people that came together to make this a reality. So welcome, welcome, welcome to day two. I'm so excited to be done with this project and have it behind us to say, yes, we came together, we truly believed that it was possible, and we are stronger together, and because of that, we made it a reality. Welcome, everyone. I see Linford, he's joining from Facebook. He said he's here. Tell me where you are joining from. Which part of the world are you joining from? Jumobi is joining. She said, we are live. Yes, we are live. Thank you for being here. Mordecai says, hello. Hello, Mordecai. I hope you're ready for your pitch. I cannot wait for that session. Welcome, 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 everyone. It's so exciting. We are going to be having our first keynote speech really soon. But before that, let me also ask you a question, because I did this game with the members of my community yesterday. I said, what does the ascension mean to you personally? So I'm asking you as you come into the room, tell me, when you hear the word ascension, what comes to mind? What does it mean to you? Tell me in the chat. I want to see. Yesterday, people said growth. They said it meant bold. It meant audacity. It meant global networking. Purpose. Someone said, I think is innovating. It's transformational. Faith, access, possibilities, eye-opener, next level. What about you listening to me? What does the ascension mean to you? Let me know in the chat. I would like to know. Let me know. Oli said it means to elevate together. Yes. Oh, you formed a new word, Oli. That's so funny. That makes sense. Thank you so much, Oli. Thank you for being here. Then we have Kosi. Kosi says she's excited to be here. She's joining from Enugu, Nigeria. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to welcome all of you. It's so exciting, and I'm really bubbling with a lot of excitement. I have to remind myself to calm down. I have to remind myself that I've not introduced myself, right? So, as in case you don't know me, my name is Dr. Amaka Ifeduba, and I'm the founder and lead coach of ScholarUP Mentoring Academy. I'm going to be sharing a little bit about ScholarUP before I get going. And actually, I'm a certified life coach, and I started this 21 days LinkedIn elevation program. Yesterday at the beginning, I told the longer story of how we came about it. But the whole goal and the vision for this program was so that people would actually have the confidence and the willpower to show up and leverage the online space for their business growth or for their career growth. And so far, today is the graduation of the 17th cohort. So we've been going for 17 months. That's like, I can't even believe that we've been on it for 17 months. And our program has reached people from over 20 different countries. More than 500 people at this point has gone through that program. And today, like I said, we are going to be graduating cohort 17. So during the award ceremony in the end, you get to see a few of them who won the award for that cohort, because we always have some sort of internal competition for some award categories. And then, of course, if you want to be a part of cohort 18, the link will be in the chat. You can reach out to me later. You can sign up, and then you can take part of that program. But before I keep going, let me share a bit about ScholarUP, just a 1-minute video that just helps you wrap your head around what we are about, right? Let's imagine you're stumbling into the room. You've never heard about ScholarUP, and then you're wondering, what is ScholarUP? What is the Ascension? I'm going to be sharing a bit on that. But before I do that, as you come into the room, I want you to do me a favor. Help me to repost the event. This event is live on YouTube, is live on Facebook, and is live on LinkedIn. I see chats from all over the place. Ursula, I see you from Cameroon. Thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you here. And then Kosi says ascension means going higher, taking a great decision. I agree with you, Kosi. So help me repost the event. Today is Sunday. It's different times anyway at different parts of the world. Right now it's 7 o'clock in the morning. The people in US Central Time is 9 o'clock in the morning. The people in West Africa, Nigeria, it's 4 p.m. in the evening. So actually deciding on a time for this conference, we had to put all of those considerations into play due to the time differences and the time zone differences. But we've made it possible and we've made it work. So as you come into the room, help me repost. When you repost, let me know in the chat that you have reposted. That will make me really happy. So with that, let me share a quick video about ScholarUP Mentoring Academy, just like 1 minute, and then we can get going.
Begins with the right guidance and opportunities. And at ScholarUP Mentoring Academy, we are here to help you unlock your full potential. Whether you're preparing for graduate school applications or building a standout professional presence on LinkedIn, we provide the tools and support you need to thrive. Our programs are designed to help you craft a compelling personal brand, position yourself for global opportunities, and achieve your dreams. Led by Dr. Amaka Ifaduba, a dedicated mentor and coach, ScholarUP empowers you with personalized mentoring, actionable resources, and proven strategies to take bold steps toward a brighter future. ScholarUP Mentoring Academy is more than a program. It's a community dedicated to helping you succeed. Take the first step today and discover how we can guide you on your journey to greatness. Follow our page for updates and access all our resources at linktree.com/ScholarUP Academy. Your success story starts here.
Okay, that is ScholarUP Mentoring Academy in brief, right? And like I was mentioning, we've had our programs going on now. And these are some of the alumni that has passed through our program in these 17 months, just a few of them. And that's just been an amazing journey working with so many people from all over the place. From all of these members, we were able to put together an advisory board who were part of the planning process for this conference, as I mentioned yesterday. And again, we launched our Voices of Impact, which is the ScholarUP Alumni Series, which has gone on, which is just an avenue where community members come together every month and they can talk about what they're about to teach one another, because it's all about networking together. It's all about learning from each other. And we've gone on to have 3 episodes so far. Lastly, before I introduce the first speaker, I want to again today thank the volunteers who have contributed so much to the planning of this conference. I've mentioned again and again, we had so many volunteers sign up for different units, coordinated by Emeka. Theophilus was helping the creative unit. They were very helpful to ensure that this conference was a success. So thank you to all of you. I really appreciate the work that you've done so far. You've continued to do this work even up till today, making sure that everything goes according to plan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. I really, truly, truly appreciate that. All right. With that saying, okay, let me see the chat again to welcome all the people. Oh, okay. So she's saying this is the last chance to join cohort 18. If you want to join, the link is on the chat. You can click on the link and you can join. So let me know where you're joining from as you have come in. Yeah, Kosi says she has reposted. Thank you so much, Kosi. I appreciate that. And Ursula said ascension means change. I agree with you. Ascension means change. Thank you so much for being here. And then I see someone from Cameroon. She said she's happy to be here from Cameroon. Thank you so much for being here. All right, let's get to our next session. The first keynote for the day. I'm happy to welcome Tolulope. You are welcome. Tolulope is a seasoned real estate. Tolulope is a seasoned real estate sales expert, digital marketing strategist, and international speaker with over 7 years of experience helping individuals and families build wealth through property. As a certified speaker, she blends market insight with practical tech-driven strategies that empower everybody to think globally and act boldly. With that, Tolu, I welcome you to the stage. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation. And let me add that Tolu is one of the members of our advisory board. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to hand the stage over to you for your keynote.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amaka. Thank you. How have all been doing? Excited to actually be here. Months and months of preparation has come to reality, right? So how are we all doing? I'd like to see some of our chats. How are we doing? Have you learned? Have you unlearned? What have you learned so far? Are you ready to actually shatter boundaries? Right. So let's go quickly into it because I have limited time. I'd like to ask a question. If you could own property anywhere in the world, where will it be? I want to see charts. Let's drop our answers quickly. If you could own property anywhere in the world, where will it be? Let's imagine someone just comes and say, "Oh, I want to gift you something, a property anywhere." So what location would you pick? Which country? Which continent? I want to see our charts so that we can move on quickly. Okay, the charts are not loading here on my end, but I want to assume that people are already responding. Uh, Canada, thank you, Bukola. Bukola says Canada. Wow. Hawaii, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Nigeria and USA, fantastic, Bernard. Fantastic. Costa Rica, okay. Okay, that's good. Paris, wow. Okay, so this is it. This is actually it because I actually asked that question because I wanted us to know why this topic for this session, real estate without borders, how anyone anywhere can build wealth through property. I see that our imagination have gone so far. Some of us are probably in Africa and we want to own properties abroad. Some of us are abroad and we want to own properties in other countries that we are not in. This is where we shatter boundaries. I mean, it's the ascension, right? It is time for your brilliance to awaken, not only in other industries or in your own industry, but also in your investments and in making wealth. There's a particular quote that I love to say so much, and it's by Franklin D. Roosevelt. He says, real estate cannot be lost or stolen, neither can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care, it is about the safest investment in the world. Now, put emphasis on safest and world. At the time that this man gave this quote, he was the president of America, and he didn't say it is the safest investment in America. He didn't say it is the safest investment in Africa. He said in the world. That means that you can own property anywhere in the world if you know what to do and how to do it. Let's move on. Why this topic? This topic is actually to inspire you to see real estate beyond physical boundaries. If you have been the type that you feel, oh, I have to be a millionaire to invest in real estate, we are here to shatter that boundary. If you have the mindset that, no, it has to be wherever I am, that I can just my locality, we're here to also shatter that boundary. So it is also to help you see practical steps as to how you can own and make wealth globally, regardless of wherever you are. Great. Now, let's move. Now, why the topic real estate without borders? You see, this is an era where a lot of things have happened, in fact, are happening. And we are here at the Ascension because technology made it so. I am speaking currently from Lagos, Nigeria. Dr. Amaka is somewhere in the US. There are people here from Germany, from France, from everywhere in the world. Why? Because of technology, right? It is one of those things that has been made available to us. And even in real estate investment and in making wealth, it is one tool that you cannot afford to push aside. So we are teaching and we're going to be talking about how anyone anywhere can own, not just own personally, you can co-own, Not just co-own, you can invest across borders. And I would like to mention 3 pathways quickly that you can use to start, because a lot of us probably are investors already. Some of us are new to the investment sector, real estate, stocks and all of that. Some people don't even bother about that. It's okay. I mean, you just need to start somewhere. And one of the 3 pathways that I would like to mention first is local to global. Now, let me say this. You see, as much as you want to invest anywhere in the world, if you have not tested the waters around you, you don't know how deep the ocean is, right? It's not that I just woke up someday and I decided, oh, I want to own properties in the UK, in America. And I don't even know what owning properties in Nigeria looks like. So there's a local to global growth that you need to ascend into. I'm using that word a lot because I want it to stick to our mind that if you must own property anywhere in the world, you need to shatter a lot of boundaries in your mind. There's a lot of noise on social media. There's a lot of noise in our immediate environment about this industry specifically. However, make it your business to know where you are putting your money into. Don't let it be from what word do I use now? From third parties. Instead, do your local research, right? Start with somewhere around you. At 10,000 Seeds Limited is one of the things that we do. We help people actually invest, buy their property, whether you're a first timer, you're a returning investor, to know that there's something for you. And see, for as many people here that feel, okay, I need to be a millionaire, or in naira, or 1,000 naira in dollars, or you need to own hundreds of thousands of dollars, or millions and tens of millions of naira before you can invest. Let me shatter that mindset. There are a lot of companies and developers that are doing it right, and are still giving opportunities to people to do upfront financing. Anywhere in the world, there is something we call financing. You can actually finance your way into owning property. So don't let it scare you that, you're saying I should start locally. Even the local one, I cannot afford it. Says who? Have you even tried to make a research to expand, to know about your local markets? Is it just what you're being fed with on social media, or you really do your research and know? I was talking to my team over the last week, and I said there is $2.3 trillion of untapped wealth in just the African real estate industry, just Africa. So imagine that there are some people that have not made such commission. There are some people that have actually not made their money from that untapped wealth. There are some people that have not bought property from that untapped wealth. You can be one of them, and that's why I'm here for you today. So that is the first pathway. It is when you are able to deal with your local market that you can move into the global market. You can now leverage on the next pathway that I want to say, which is the digital platform. See, digital has given us access to a lot. And I'll tell you a story. 5 years ago, before COVID, I think it should be about 6 years, I met myself in this platform that is called Digital Landlords. You can go online and check. These were people all over the world, Africans, non-Africans, that came together and decided to start investing in Africa, specifically in Lagos, Nigeria. They were the harbinger, the first set of persons to break into the shortlets, the Airbnb markets. And now, right now, we are owners of parks and gardens, even here, resort centers here in Africa. Why? Because we came together digitally, crowdfunded, invested, and did what? And now it is making sense. See, a lot of us feel like if you must be in a community, it has to be about gigs, it has to be about, other things apart from investing. No, really, the digital world has given us the access to know that there are platforms that you can even invest from. If you are a one-man mopo, you don't like to do things with a lot of people. Apologies to those that are not Nigerians here. One-man mopo is you're a loner. You don't like to do things with a lot of people. Yeah, it's fine. There are rates, real estate investment trusts that are available on platforms like Bamboo, Fundrise, RiseVest, And if you are not in Africa, you can actually look at your domestic rates. REITs are, again, real estate investment trust. The way you buy shares into Apple, you buy into Nvidia and Microsoft and all of these companies, they are also real estate investment blue chip companies that you can buy into, and you're still investing. You're making money, you're making wealth, which are even as low as $50. Some are not even up to. I made a decision sometime this year, and I said, for every $10, for every $100 that comes to me, let me set aside $10 and use it and compound it. I'll get to that. That is what digital access can give to you. That's another pathway. That is for you that you feel like, no, I don't want to deal with lands, local things. No, I'm very techy. Yes, this is another pathway. And the third pathway is the one I love so much: hospitality and shortlets. My time is running. Hospitality and shortlets, right? I mentioned shortlets already, but I want to say that in your environment, your house, you can actually start this pathway. You don't need to own money to start it. Just know people like us that can put you through how you can actually create a space in your own to share your apartment for money, to make wealth. I mean, it's just lying there, right? So it is one of those things and pathways that you can use. I sometimes posted on LinkedIn and said, if your house is not giving you money, it should be considered a liability. A lot of people came for me and said, oh, no. As long as I'm not paying rent, it is an asset. Yes, you're not paying rent, you're saving your rent. Are you sure you're saving it? Because even that house needs maintenance. The land that your house is sitting on is what appreciates. What you have built on it needs constant maintenance. So you bring your hard-earned money from somewhere and put it into the house, and you say it's not a liability. So this pathway is actually for you if you are in that category. So the overview of all I have been saying is that don't let yourself be confined by geography, or your investment nature be confined by geography, by location. No, we have bought real estate properties for clients all over the world, right? In fact, 80% of my clientele are actually in diaspora. Some of who have never met me, some have, some invested, and they are making their money from their investment without even getting into Africa. The same happens even when we buy for people outside Africa, right? So don't let anything, any mindset bring you down and not allow you make the wealth that you're supposed to make. The true limitation is not money. It is actually mindset, right? And the next thing I will be talking about is to put everything in retrospect as I bring it to a close. And that is the blueprint you want to use. We call something brief in real estate. Brief means summary in English. But in real estate, brief also means summary, but in property. So if I say, I love this property, send me the brief. It means, okay, send me all the details I need to know without being too ambiguous. So brief, I want brief to be in your mind. If you don't take anything home, take brief home. The brief blueprint. B means believe you can start small. Every great investor began with one decision and not $1 million. R says research opportunities across borders. I've mentioned everything that I need to say on this. The I says invest your technology. Use digital tools. I mean, that's what we have it for, right? It's not just for us to have it on our phone. Use it. And E says expand your community. I can't say this enough. They say your network is your net worth, right? Relationship matters a lot because people don't stay around people that are not investment savvy, that don't wish you well, that will tell you, no, they say this is happening there. No, like I said, make where you are putting your money your business, right? So as you are doing that, expand your community, look into circles of investors. Even if you have not started investing, don't let anyone put you down because you feel, oh, I don't have that money yet. I've told you ways at which you can use as small money or no money to start making wealth anywhere in the world. And collaborate. You can come to me if you need more clarity on this part or on starting your journey, because this is what I do. I mean, it's going to a decade that I've been in this industry, so I can tell you sincerely that I know my onions and I'll be able to help you. And the last part, which is F, is focus on the long game. Please, I always say this, real estate is a game of patience. Building wealth for generations is a game of patience. Please, if you are in a hurry to flip, buy crypto, trade forex, and do all other things, but real estate is real wealth, and you don't rush. You hold your investments with patience and clarity, because you know that you actually purchased it well, you did your due diligence before purchasing, and yet you can stay focused, and before you know it, your worth is increasing by the year. So whether you are a local investor, you're in Lagos, you want to invest in London, or you're in Nairobi, you want to go to New York, know that a borderless approach transforms your ambition and your imagination, that Canada thinking, into tangible assets. In closing, I like to say, brilliance isn't defined by geography. One step today, whether you're researching, you're investing, you're joining a community, begins, it's all it takes to begin your borderless wealth journey. So where it's defined by vision, real estate without borders empowers everyone to own a piece of the world, one property at a time. Your brilliance just awakened. Now, go and own a piece of the world. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Tolu. Thank you. That was really, really good. That was so good. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
that
much.
wonderful session. Let's see what the people are saying in the chat. Oh yes, lots of chat. Somebody is re-echoing what you're saying. It says research opportunities across borders, and then I invest in using technology. Oh, Bukola is really on it. She said expand your community, relationship, open doors, and make sure you learn as you keep going. Thank you. That was such a wonderful time. If you have any questions, do put your questions in the chat as we start rolling over to the next session. Thank you. That was a wonderful keynote on real estate. Indeed, I liked the quote that you used at the beginning that said that is the best way to invest, right? And learn to play the long time game, because it's not going to
Yes,
happen as soon as
yes,
you it's going to be.
true,
Thank you very
true.
much. And everybody says
Thank you
thank
for
you.
having
That's an
me. Thank
eye-opener.
you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then she says that was an eye-opener. Thank you, Tolu. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, let's start moving on to the next session. Let's move on to the next session. So the next session, we have Coach David. I don't see him at the back of the stage. Okay, Mohamed is here. Welcome, Mohamed. I'll keep looking. When I see the other panelists, I'll bring them up on the stage. But for right now, I'm going to introduce Mohamed, and we can start the conversation going, because we want to be on time. Thank you for taking the time to be here. But first of all, before I introduce you, let me ask you, what time is it in Morocco? You are in Morocco, right? You're muted. Let me, let's unmute. Can you unmute? You have to unmute, Mohamed. I cannot hear you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What about now? Is it better?
Yes, it's better now.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So you are in
I
Morocco,
want to
right?
just say that, yeah, no, I'm based in Tunisia right now. It's
Oh,
in
in
the north.
Tunisia. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, like, yeah, it's a 4:30 minute PM. So it's a wet time zone, West African time zone.
Oh, so just like Nigerian time. So it's like 4
Exactly.
past 4 p.m. Okay, you're supposed to
Exactly.
be in this panel with Coach David, Adeoye, and Augusta. I don't know. Hopefully they show up. But we are going to start because we really have to be on time, right? So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Mohamed Hamdi. How do you say your last name?
Yeah, basically, it's the middle name. I have two names, like Mohammed. Mohammed is super popular name in the Arabic word. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Hamdi is the name. Yeah, and Ouardi
Okay.
is the family name. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
He is a cybersecurity leader and an influential educator. As a cybersecurity operations expert, engineer, and architect, he specializes in designing and implementing robust security solutions. A prominent international speaker, Hamdi has delivered impactful keynotes at prestigious events, including TEDx and Infragard USA. So welcome to the stage today. Today we are going to be switching gears to talk a little bit about cybersecurity, which I believe It's a very important topic, especially now that technology goes higher and higher and everybody is exposed. I guess there's too much data, is what I think. I think we are now at the point where all of us are facing some sort of risks. So we want to kind of get your ideas on how we can go about securing ourselves, right? So starting the first question I would like to ask you is, you often describe curiosity as the gateway to cybersecurity. What first drew you to this field, and how did that curiosity become your career catalyst?
Yeah. I mean, curiosity is one of the things that it's a must to have if you want to go into cybersecurity. It's super, super important to be curious. Coming from my experience, basically, I remember like the first internship opportunity that I got. And I was kind of in a small intern who is exercising what we call in cybersecurity penetration tests, which means like it's kind of like ethical hacking. You're doing hacking for ethical things. So, and when it comes that the first vulnerability that I discovered in that internship, I could remember that weakness. I got just to exploit one of the vulnerabilities that exist on someone machine. And then you feel like things are different, You want to really ask yourself another questions, and you're going to be like, how does this work? Why I could access that computer? Why I could access that server? And from there, you start to ask a lot of questions. And then your next question going to be, okay, if I could attack that machine or attack that profile or whatever, how I can... So asking questions in cybersecurity, for someone who want to just get into it, it's really, really super important. So yeah, I mean, and always, when some students come to me or some people, they want to make a career switch to cybersecurity, when they ask about curiosity, I'd be like, it's a must. You have to ask a lot of questions, including how I can do that attack, but also how can I be secure, and how I can secure that system that I hacked. So yeah, it's a really, really key point if you want to go into the field.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. I like how you say you have to stay curious. And that's going to lead to my next question, because like I was mentioning at the beginning, cybersecurity is evolving. It's truly, truly like an evolving field, and it's continued to evolve. So what would be the mindset shift that will separate somebody who is just working in cybersecurity and someone who is actively agile and innovating and growing with it, seeing that the times are changing?
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much, because it's a really, really great question. So basically, what it separates between the both. Someone looking to the things as really simple tasks. I have to secure that computer. I have to apply some policies to make the system secure. But the other look to the things differently, or kind of like more strict to the things. So first of all, the leader, into cybersecurity, they look to the way that it really, really impact, first of all, its business. Because if you don't have really, really a secure system, a secure information system, if the people that working with you, they are not really aware, will impact, your reputation in the market, and no one want to deal with you. So I can say like the difference is between someone who is looking to the things as a simple tasks, but the other look to the things as really, really a reputation, and basically always we see the things, as a leaders, we see or we assume that it exists a breach. I'm not safe, Security 100% is a really, really big lie. We can't say that I'm secure 100%. So always there is some vulnerabilities, always there is some weaknesses, but the leader look to the things that, I'm gonna get hacked, One day, that attack gonna happen, but I have to be secure. I have to prepare my incident response plan, and I have to be ready for what's going to happen. So yeah, it's between like someone looking as it is a simple task to meet the norm, the other look at as it, it's business itself and it's a reputation.
Oh, wow. I see. So you talked about ethical hacking. Usually when we hear the word hacking, it doesn't, it's usually not associated with ethical, right? It's not hardly positive. So I want you to kind of throw more light on that. Ethical hacking in cybersecurity, what does it mean to the layman, like the young professionals who are listening to you, who are interested into going into cybersecurity? I know that in my mind, hacking is not associated with a positive, but now I hear you say ethical hacking. So could you kind of expand on that?
The problem with the word hacking itself, that it exists what we call a Hollywood vision, When we're talking about the hacking, people first things come to their mind. Those kind of like Hollywood movies, break into the system in some clicks. But it's not like that, It's just not like that. It's not like a Hollywood vision. I think, hacking, as much it's a fabulous thing, as much as a thing really make you, really curious about what you're gonna do, as much it's something require a lot of skills, So first of all, and for anyone here want to break into cybersecurity, the first thing that you have to do is to understand, that cybersecurity is really, really a vast field. It's really, really so big. And if someone telling you that I'm working in cybersecurity, he or she must doing something in cybersecurity. It's not like doing everything in cybersecurity. So first of all, you have to understand which field you want to go. You have just to understand that it exists a lot of roles. You have to understand those kind of roles. But the next question come to me: how I can know, how I can really realize that my choice is the correct one. Okay.
Right.
What if I want to be SOC analyst? What if I want to be like a pen testing? So my advice is, first of all, you have to start with the basic skills where you're going to need those skills in each role, So we're talking about the hard skills. Basically, they are networking, talking about here scripting, and even talking about securing operation systems. Some people saying that sometimes programming, but I don't consider that as a key skills, as a hard skills. You don't have to be an expert programmer to go into cybersecurity. The other skill, which is really it's a must, which is communication. You have to know how to communicate, specifically with the clients. Yeah. So if you want to really go and break into cybersecurity, and if you're talking about skills, you have those kind of hard skills, and you have the soft skills. And specifically, it's a communication, because one day you're going to talk to a client, you're going to explain that his system, is really vulnerable to an attacks, and you have to convince him that he must fix that.
Oh wow, yeah, that's so good. And I think what I'm hearing you say is that cybersecurity, like usually people talk about cybersecurity like it's a small field. And now you're saying it's very vast and you're giving a lot of examples. And I also know that, so people from a non-tech background, for example, who are just interested, like they want to break into cybersecurity, they've been hearing about it, and they're trying to really get that clarity. So what would you think would be a starting point for someone with a non-tech background who is now where they are and they feel like, okay, this is a field I want to pursue. But now they're hearing Hamdi mention so many, and now it's like, okay, now I'm confused. I don't know where to start from. So, but before you answer that, I see a lot of comments in the chat. If you have any question, consider this a learning session, right? This is an education session. So if you have any question, I'm looking at the chat. I'm going to project it so that Hamdi would answer the question. But yes, that's what I want to know. How do people start the journey?
Yeah. So for the people who doesn't have that tech background, okay, let's say that you don't have to be someone working in cybersecurity to be secure and ensure that you're secure, right? So it must be as a culture. Here we are talking about, having that culture of being secure, or the best of practices. So if you are no tech person, I really recommend to really attend some awareness sessions. This is so important. I mean, professionals and experts in cybersecurity, they are doing a great job about that. Even like daily, it exists some, a free awareness security sessions. It just teach you about the threats, how your account one day may be going to be compromised, how you can secure your account, and those kind of talks, because really it's so I can say impactful, and this is really help you a lot to understand the threat. Because here's the thing, I found it a lot. People, first of all, from no tech background, they are not going to be interested a lot in cybersecurity, because it's a field where it exists a lot of technical words. It's really so complicated to understand. It feels boring sometimes for no tech people. But when, and this is as a trainer, I'm doing that. But when I show you that threat, when I show you how a hacked account, ethically, then you're gonna be like, this can be happen to me, right? So here, it's gonna be like an attractive point. We attract the attention of the people through this kind of awareness. If I show you how you can be compromised through a phishing email, you're gonna be curious how he could do that. And what if someone did that to me? So yeah, awareness sessions, they are fabulous, specifically those one who include a practical side. Yeah, this is actually like the key point, because it exists a lot of awareness sessions too, but sometimes most of them, they're a little bit boring and they are theoretical. But if I'm gonna make it a practical, then I'm gonna just catch your attention and gonna be so interested to be involved in that.
Yeah, we're getting some responses in the chat. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Oli says the most insecure interface existing is not within the machine, it's between the machine
Yeah.
and humans. Sometimes critical thinking is as much important as having updated, efficient tools. Yes, I think that is that. What can you
love-
add to that? I think that is Oli's thoughts.
I love that. I love that because people manage technology. It's not the opposite. So maybe you have the best antivirus. Maybe you have the best infrastructures. You spend a million on buying those kind of tools. But what if someone working with you who doesn't know how to deal with that, how he can use that? It's gonna be a problem. So it's like you're spending nothing. So yeah, it's about a human. So it's about making people know how to deal with the security tools, to deal with the best practices. It's not about the tools. It's not about the tools. I totally agree. Fabulous point.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then we have a question here from Bukola. She says, thank you for the wonderful session. I'm just going into tech, cloud security precisely. My question is, what common mistakes do beginner in cloud security make and how can she avoid them? So she's just starting her journey. So this is a lucky day for
Yeah.
you, Bukola. You get free
Yeah,
coaching.
yeah. I mean, mistakes, I think in cybersecurity is when you want to just start to learn about a field, but you don't have, I can say, a map, a pathway, to that field. Basically, here you will start actually to get some information sometimes from different resources like YouTube, like courses, but you don't feel that you're in the path. This is the problem. And then you will start losing hope, in that. I see many people, they want to start, some careers in some specific roles like cloud security, SOC. The problem that they don't have a pathway, they don't have a roadmap, and they make a lot of mistakes, during the learning journey. This is what we want to avoid, because when you don't have like a roadmap, you will feel like it's an infinite journey. You're gonna waste a lot of time, and then you're gonna start losing hope. So the first thing that you have to do is to put a pathway, to put a deadline, and to why not asking even an expert in that, and asking them, from their perspective, what you really need in order to be specialized in cloud security. So first thing first, think about the pathway, think about the roadmap, and put a deadline for you to do it.
I see. It's important to know the roadmap. It's important to actually decide which direction you're going. Thank you so much for that answer. Now let's shift gears a bit and talk a bit about culture, right? I think in some organization, you realize the only team concerned about cybersecurity is the IT team. I don't think it should be so, right? Because security should be everybody's business. So how can businesses actually build that culture where everyone understands that cybersecurity is everybody's role, even though there is a specific IT team?
Yeah. First of all, when we're talking about the budget, in organization, again, it's not about the tool, it's about the people. And when I'm talking about the people here, I'm talking about awareness sessions. Companies must invest in that, okay? And when I'm talking about the awareness, we try to escape the classical way. We try to basically make the people in the company see those kind of practical awareness, like a phishing campaign, okay? And even like I know some companies that really giving some awards for the best employees who respected the best practice, the best security practice during the month, okay? So this is like encouraging them, encouraging them to go inside that path. So again, it's investing in the people, awareness session. When I'm talking about awareness session, escape that kind of a classical awareness session, and even making, why not, some awards for the people who are really respecting this kind of politics. Okay, so yeah, because right now we know sometimes some companies, they are making security politics, but it's just a paper. It's not implemented. Okay.
Right.
So when I find an engineer, when I find an employee who really, really respect that politic, I'm gonna be like, why not? I'm gonna award him to be an example for his
Right.
colleagues.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. So I hear it's about giving incentives. Give
yeah.
incentives to the people who do the work and understand the culture of building everybody being security conscious. Coach David, do you hear us? I see your camera is off and you're muted. I don't know if your network is letting you. You're still
Yes, I can hear you. If I put on my video, I am afraid of the because I'm using the one on my phone. For the hotel, the Wi-Fi of the hotel is acting up. It keeps throwing me out when I try to log in.
oh
So I came into the car to use the one on my phone because there's no signal in the room. So
okay.
welcome to Nigeria.
Well done, well done. I'm going to ask you one question. At least we can hear you, so that we can get your insights. You help people and you
Okay.
help organizations move from clarity to impact. In this fast changing tech economy, what does future ready leadership look like in cybersecurity?
The
Well,
future of leadership.
first of all,
Oh, so I'm
yeah,
sorry. This is a question for David, right?
Yes, this is for Coach David. Yes.
Amazing.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, and Mo. Thanks for your contribution. Thank you for bearing with me, please, our audience and Dr. Amaka. Now, the truth is that the nature of the threat landscape is changing. The kind of things we are seeing requires leaders to be future focused, and we are dealing with futures as quick as the next 90 seconds. Between the time that a vector is able to hit your outer perimeter and the time it takes you to detect it must become shorter. We must literally live in the future. In fact, we are at the age where we need to start anticipating threats deeper. The kinds of sophistication we are seeing in terms of threat intelligence is heavy. It's easier now to become a hacker than to become a defender. And we cannot produce defenders as much as we can produce hackers. To become a hacker, Dr. Amaka and Mo will agree with me, it takes a curious mind, $100 software, a rundown makeshift laptop, and lots of IP maskers that can help you mask your IP. And look, I saw some phishing emails in the past 2 days. I was afraid. For the first time, they are getting phishing emails correctly. They are using the same logo. All the mistakes they used to make before, they are not making it anymore. The meaning of that is that we must live in the future. We must anticipate the hacker. We can't, and look, the damage that can be done in 90 seconds. Look, the stories are there. We have hackers, we have incidents that lasted only 20 minutes and 20 million pounds was lost. There are incidents all over the world that if you see the amount of money that they lost under 10 minutes. The Harrods Bridge we saw a couple of months back, all the retailers you saw in the UK, go look at the case studies. The number of minutes, so we can't wait until we are attacked anymore. We have to live in the future, preempt the hacker, preempt the ecosystem, study the deep web, listen for conversations. We have to invest in listening softwares, especially concerning advanced persistent threats. If we go the route of, it doesn't concern me until I'm attacked, you're soon going to become a casualty. So leaders must grow their futuristic, future prediction skills in terms of threat intelligence. You must be able to look at a risk and calculate quickly, looking at the environment and how vulnerable you will be, especially around your value-added services. Where is your money? All the process around your money, all the financial documentation. What will happen if this goes down? What will happen? What will be my loss? And put that in P&L. And you must be monitoring that on a consistent basis. And this is why CISOs are now having mental breakdowns. And that's why Microsoft did something very powerful recently. Microsoft has just eliminated the global CISO. That only one person should be CISO. Microsoft eliminated it. Don't kill us. So what Microsoft is doing now is that Microsoft, I think, has now, 20-something CISOs. 20-something deputy CISOs, I beg your pardon. Not one CISO. 20-something. It's online. It's on my wall, actually. And that's an example of looking at the future and being future already. One person will not be able to be looking at the future like before. Like one big chief information security officer, it won't happen anymore. So because the future belongs to the chief, the CISO, that's why they are breaking it into 19 to 20 roles. It's going to be humanly impossible for you to have somebody looking at all the ways we can be attacked. So, making roles more clearer, factoring futurism into every single role. Every single person must think the future now. Blue team, red team, yellow team, all the teams must think the future as part of their JD practically. All our processes must be scenario futuristic planning now. If the server goes down, what's our failover? If that failover goes down, what's our second plan? If the second plan goes down, what's our third plan? Everybody's going to the cloud, for example. Cloud. We've seen Apple breached in the cloud, right? In the cloud, not on-prem. We've seen Amazon breached. You understand? So what's the bigger point, my good friends? And Mo will agree with me. Let me just take 1 minute because I'm passionate about these things. The future cannot be outsourced to the threat modeling teams alone. Many organizations don't even have threat modeling labs. They don't think it's money. They don't think it's money they should spend. Why should I invest in threat modeling labs? Why? Of what use is that to me? Meanwhile, that's probably what will save you. I've not gotten to the new gig where we are finding out that governments are literally sponsoring attacks now. Literally, governments are sponsoring attacks now. State-sponsored terrorism, all those things are beginning to crystallize. What will we do? Anyway, I dropped my mic there because I know it's a very interesting conversation. Everybody must now think the future. Everybody, including HR. In fact, let me drop this last one. It has started already. Without you knowing or predicting the future, you may go to jail for a cyber incident. It's happened in China. It's happened in the United States. It's happened, I think, in Canada, where the CEO and the CIO and the CISO went to jail and they were heavily fined. The latest one is that chief of HR will be going to jail because of data privacy issues. That's the next one I'm predicting. So no executive can sit and say concerning cyber, we are okay. We have the strongest team in the world. No. Everybody must be thinking future and how can we be attacked? How is your industry being attacked? Who attacked in your industry last? What was their vulnerability? You must be interested, even if you're a janitor, because you can, by tailgating, put all of us in compromise. We can go on and on. You're muted, Doc. Dr. Amaka, you're muted.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for those deep insights. Like I could just listen to you go on and on. Thank you very much. I think you provided a lot of context, which will lead to my next question, Mohamed. Now, AI has become, it's just as though everything is AI now, right? So with AI and automation, as they continue to expand, what do you see as the biggest opportunities, especially in the world of cybersecurity? What are the biggest opportunities? And then what would also be like the worst ethical challenges? So it's a two-side questions. So I know AI will bring opportunities, but it would also bring some threats. So can we talk about that?
Totally. So basically, AI, we know everyone that is making that kind of solution in cybersecurity. And when we're talking about how it really helps, it really helps in defensive mechanism. Okay. So right now we have even some tools that really enriched by AI, which really help a lot for a faster detection of the attack. Right now, you can gain more days to detect the attack. I think, it exists one of the stats of the IBM. It tells you that if you are using one specific tool, we call it CM, in cybersecurity, they tell you that if you are using one occupied with AI, this is going to make you gain about a 35 day of detecting an attack. So the detection of an attack, it really, the AI helps a lot in that point. So right now, I can detect the attack faster. But also, this is basically has a positive impact on the analysts, okay? So people who are working in a SOC analysts who are monitoring the systems, supervising the infrastructures. Right now, with the kind of, algorithms, they can detect those kind of attacks faster and really will explain it. So, but when it comes to the other side, absolutely. So the attackers also using AI. So here we have to ask that question too. What is the impacts? Right now, phishing is enriched with AI. So right now, I can just create a really, really fabulous link, with some AI algorithms there, which is sometimes can be undetectable by some antiviruses.
Right.
Talking about right now, those hackers who are using the AI for deepfake, and even like sometimes we reach that level where we can't really separate between a video who is made by AI and a normal video. So sometimes even some tools can't make the difference, between the both. So I mean, when we're talking about, I can say like the good side of AI, it really helps a lot to detect the attacks. Right now, even we are talking about penetration tests. The penetration test is the ethical hacking process. Some people talking about that can be automated. Automated, it means gonna save me a lot of time. Okay, so but when we're talking about, I'm not gonna say like the dark side, but the challenge is there. Attackers also use AI. So right now, I can even create a malware that get into your system and can be undetectable by any antivirus. This is a problem, and already it exists one of the malwares for research reasons that exist like that. It can enter your system, do whatever it do, and no one can just detect that because actually that malware can adopt and can know your environment using AI.
Oh wow, yeah. Thank you for those insights. Let's see what our friends are saying in the chat in response to what you've said. Somebody is saying thank you to Coach David. He said thanks to Coach David, and then somebody says communication is a core skill itself. Yeah, and then Eniola is re-echoing. She said everyone must think about the future. That is absolutely true. So, Coach David, this will bring me to the question I want to ask you, and this is for young people who are trying to get into cybersecurity. What role does mentorship and community play in accelerating their success in this tech ecosystem and this innovation ecosystem? What role does community play and mentorship? You're muted.
Me.
Okay, yes,
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Maka, and thanks, Mo, for those powerful conversations. I mean, there was a time it was, for example, very difficult to guess passwords. But with the advent of AI now, no matter how complex your password is, it's a matter of minutes, maybe seconds, the correct password, no matter how complex it is. So we just have to use AI to defend. So let me go to that question. Mentorship and community is the only magic formula that can help you master AI on time. Master cyber security from a defense perspective on time. What to know is huge. Between the day, you see, it's easy to destroy, but very difficult to build. To be a defender is not easy. So you must first of all understand the network, then understand how to install gates and how to protect the network, and then start thinking about all the ways a network can be compromised. Between day zero and your first job may actually be 16 months to 2 years if you're a fast learner who dedicates all the time. If you want to be seasoned, maybe 5 years. That's why the CISO, this certification is 5 years. The CISSP, it's about 5 years experience. But community and mentorship flips the game. Community and mentorship flips the game. We are finding out that people are beginning to learn with help from each other better. Like Bug Bounty leverages on community and mentorship and fun and games. And before you know it, we are able to bust threats or vulnerabilities easier. So there's something called knowledge-specific mentoring, which is you can take a chunk of something that somebody knows, and then you can put yourself under a benchmark with the person and say, I also want to learn this part. So you can modularize all of the areas and the domains that you want to learn, and you can grow quicker into roles that way. Also, you will do better with the community. In fact, hackers operate in communities. Hackers operate in communities. It's time for, and I'm challenging every young person in Africa to have what I call technology hubs. I mean, have friends that you explore and exploit together. You see the Yahoo boys in town, the people who call Yahoo boys in Nigeria, those are people that do this fraudulent stuff in Nigeria. They have whole friendship groups and semi-gangs, and they are everywhere together, doing stuff together. I mean, if you're interested in cybersecurity, get 5 of your friends who love tech. Male, female, whatever composition. Of course, we are going to the day where animals are part of cyber teams now. Animals are part of cyber teams. Dogs are being used in cyber teams, and birds are being used in cyber teams now. But it has not gone to Nigeria. But pending that time, human beings are sufficient with your machines. So we have machines and man in developed world with animals. Get your friends, organize hacking gigs, organize hacking hackathons, cyber hackathons. Whoever hacks first. That will help you and accelerate your growth and your milestones faster. With a community, you will do well. What 5 of you can achieve if you take the modules to study together, you will not believe how fast you would move. But as if you're trying to master it alone. Although it's boring when you are the only person reading and others are not reading, or one person reading and you are not reading. Everybody must contribute and be willing to grow together.
Yeah, thank you. That was such deep insight. As we begin to wind down this session, we have a couple of more minutes to go. Mohamed, I have one final question for you. So if you could leave our audience with one gateway principle for thriving in cybersecurity, what would it be?
I'm going to go with that stay hungry for learning more. Because the moment that you think that you know everything in cybersecurity, then it's the moment that you have to be sure that you are just behind, So keep on learning in cybersecurity, stay updated of what's happening, and don't stop to improve your skills, because absolutely it's an infinite journey. Just keep learning.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that insight. And Coach David, one final question for you. If technology is the new stage for leadership, what message do you want your own life and your own work to send to the world?
That as far as I'm concerned, I saved the world from as many catastrophes as possible in terms of cyber catastrophes. Because I know there are technology models today that can predict how we're going to be attacked. There's, for example, a prediction on the table that we should expect a global hack, where Google will be down, people cannot get anywhere between this year, from 2025 to 2030. The IMF has said it. Different organizations have said there will be a global hack. I'm also expecting a global logistics and supply chain problem, which the Cloudflare case that happened when the airlines were down just before the American election was a precursor to that. I'm also expecting one massive data breach where everybody's data will be available in the open. I'm expecting a big boom. Now, it may vary in that it may just be localized. And here's where it gets interesting for me. Africa may be shielded because we are not all online yet compared to the Western nations. So maybe this is where to trust your African roots. Maybe you want to hide more of your let me use the word hide. Maybe you want to have some serious assets in Africa. Even you have one leg in the West, because from a data perspective, privacy and anonymity is easier in Africa because we are not fully digitized. So that's an advantage for being an African, where you are not just a number alone, because we are numbers everywhere, but you are also a human being with more presence in your community, your farm, your friends, your associates, you're really human beings. So I say all of that to say, for example, the global hack that will be happening, Africa will be removed a little bit. But there's a global hack coming, a global logistics and supply chain downtime coming all over the world. One day will come where Google Map will probably be hacked, and people that were going to San Francisco will find themselves in San Diego.
Really?
And people that are going to New Orleans find themselves in New York. Before that day happens, can we predict and stop it? Can we help as many as possible to become ready cyber-wise? Can we develop more people? Can we also prepare weaker nations, African nations, for the onslaught of the West? Many people don't know. Let me tell you one big news, and I'll drop the mic when I share this. As long as your phone is Samsung or Huawei or ZTE, you don't have cybersecurity for an African country. I'm making my call through a Samsung phone now. Samsung is listening to me. It's not news. Once your TVs, your radios, all your devices are Samsungs, the power of sovereignty as a nation, digital sovereignty does not belong to you. You're not the one making decisions. You don't even have autonomy of decision making. So young people should start thinking of how we're going to develop our own phones and our own systems and our own networks. I can go on and on. Digital sovereignty, for example. My assignment is to have 10 young boys come together and create from nothing a company that makes a phone and the Africans will be using. Then I'm getting it. Or let's create our servers. We can't keep depending on Cisco, on Huawei, on Azure, on Amazon. All those things have implication. How can, for any company that runs SAP, for example, your headquarters is in Germany, not your home country. If you run SAP as your enterprise resource planning tool. Now, Tamaka, I know you want us to know, but please, this is very important. This is very important for Africans to know. You are not the owner of your company. If you run Oracle Finacle, you are based in the United States. You're just operating physically in Nigeria or anywhere. You are much more an American. Whoever owns Oracle owns you because all your data flows through it. And whoever listens to, just where your driver can know where you are. Your driver knows everything about you. Look at Facebook. Facebook is far more powerful than many presidents in the world. They know everybody's data. Look, public suite telephone network, that's the traditional network that we used to call, is now more WhatsApp all over the world. There are many countries that the calls are happening more through WhatsApp than any other medium. The meaning of that is that you are at the mercy of Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. He is listening to all the calls. And please understand that nothing is on this digital platform. You are being listened to. When we begin to develop systems that are ours, and we begin to have servers that are our own, and we have our own data centers and app, and we can control our destiny truly, because from a perspective of autonomy, then I'll have said that I'm excited. And this is not a charge I can do alone. All African leaders need to put hands together, or everybody, because we can't continue to look at ourselves like this. Anyway, that's my last show.
Thank you so much for the Coach David. I wish there was more time to go on and on this topic. I know how passionate you are about cybersecurity and all of that, but every good thing has an end. We've come to the end of this session. We have a lot of feedback from the chat. He said, Coach David really knows his onions. He makes my heart skip with his final words. Okay, so you should go so that Coach David would mentor you and you can learn more about this. And somebody says, thank you to Coach David and to Mr. Mohamed. Thank you so much. And then Eniola said she's happy to be here and things like that. So thank you very much for this wonderful session. I'm going to take you off the stage now so that we can move on to the next session. Thank you very much for sharing your insights.
Thank you. Apologies for the internet. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Are we still excited? I see the speakers for the next session are already at the back of the studio. Now we are going to be switching gears and talk about something less heavy, if I should use the word heavy. Sometimes I've listened to Coach David a couple of times. When I hear him talk about some of these challenges, it makes my heart palpate. It's like, okay, what can we do about this? But we have to keep all hands on deck to remain secure for the future. With that, I'm going to bring up the next panel, who are all very, very special to me in very, very special ways. And I'm going to be telling you how in a few minutes. Welcome on the stage, Maureen, Steve, and Jonathan. Thank you so much for being so early. Thank you for just waiting to come on the stage. That makes me really happy. I know it's Sunday morning, different times in the morning. It's 8 o'clock for me and Steve and Jonathan. I don't know. I think you're in Eastern time, so it's probably a bit later, and Maureen too. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the panel we are going to have, where we are talking about uncommon transitions. And in no time, you would figure out why I chose to bring these people, this group of people, to this panel. So Jonathan Shaver, he is the founder of Envision Partners, helping technically skilled professionals develop the values and behaviors needed for effective people leadership. With experience as a Monsanto research scientist and a professor at Oklahoma State University, he brings deep expertise in food and agriculture. So Jonathan, as a backstory, was my mentor from when I was doing my PhD in plant breeding. So we used to attend all the plant breeding conferences, and Jonathan came to do all the leadership training. And when I got to know his background with plant breeding, agronomy, I just thought in my head, why are you doing this? Why are you not a professor in the university or a research scientist? He was the first person that put it in my mind that it was possible to kind of walk away from all the degrees you have and pursue something else that you find better purpose in. So thank you so much, Jonathan, for coming on stage. And then there is Maureen. Maureen was Lagos. She's a Lagos-born microbiologist by training. She earned her PhD from Indiana University and began her industry career in Koteva Agri-Science, advancing from being a research scientist to leading talent development for over 700 plus employees. She's now a director of organizational learning at Wesley Life. She champions people-centered leadership, inclusion, and cultural competencies. What a switch. What a switch. I really want to understand from microbiology to people development. Okay, that is not even all. Steve is my boss, right? Steve is my boss. He's my mentor. I learn a whole lot from him. And I feel very privileged. I feel very honored that you would take time out of your busy schedule on a Sunday morning to be here. I know firsthand how busy you are. So I don't need anybody to tell me. All through last week, we were traveling. I know you've not rested. This next week, we have a couple of trips coming. So I don't take it for granted that you would come here to share a bit of your journey. So Steve is the founder and CEO of Innovate Ag, a Washington-based ag tech company, helping growers to optimize labor, crop, soil, and water decisions through data. He's a former Microsoft tech leader, and he launched Innovate Ag in 2019 and now partners globally to advance practical ag innovation. So Steve was born in Australia, but now he lives in Washington. So now I want to understand how Steve went from being almost 2 decades in Microsoft to suddenly going into ag tech. Steve does not have an agricultural background, to the best of my knowledge. He did not get his education in agriculture or anything of sort. So this was more of finding a problem and deciding to go after it to solve it. So that just provides some context to this panel where we are talking about uncommon transitions and how people are able to make that change and show that it's possible when they start on a particular career path, but they figure out that, okay, maybe I will do better in this other place, and they go ahead and pursue it. I'm going to jump into the panel, and I'll start with you, Jonathan, to ask you a question. What was the defining moment for you? I'm very curious. What was the moment where you convinced yourself to step away from being a professor at the university, from your PhD degree, from your research part to leadership coaching? How did you make that decision?
Okay, well, thank you, first of all, Dr. Amaka, for the invitation to share my experience. And it's something that I truly enjoy doing, to help other young people to make the career journey. So there are a lot of reasons why you make career changes, either by your own choice or by somebody else's choice. And for me to make the change from what you have defined as a traditional career to something different was family for me. And so it wasn't an absolute moment, but it was when, by the time I had 3 children and their needs, it was just the community that we lived in at the time wasn't able to fulfill our family needs. And so we needed to make a geographic move. And with that, just both my wife and I as professionals needed to figure out how to make that geographic move to meet the needs of our family. And so I think the important part, the lesson that I would take away from that to start with, is that we are more than our job, that we have a full identity. And so for me, the number one reason was family. And when I look back, it was the family. We needed to do something different. And then having the courage and the ability, the opportunity to make the necessary change to support the other parts of who I am, which is a father, not just a person who works.
So, but why did you choose leadership coaching?
Oh, that's a little bit longer story, but
yes.
So as in my introduction, you shared that I had worked at Monsanto, which is a private company, as a research scientist. And then I moved from that role into academia as a teaching professor. And then I actually had another little interim in there. I taught at a community college for a short period of time. And through all of those experiences, the thing that I learned, especially my very first job, is that science actually happens in teams. It happens with groups of people that we, even though in higher education, we are trained, particularly with a PhD, we're trained to work by ourselves and to be masters of our own success. But the reality is that that isn't how science actually happens in the world. It happens in community. It happens in small groups. It happens by sharing information. You can't be a subject matter expert if you're not able to communicate it, if people don't want to hear what you have to say. Those are the kinds of lessons, perhaps more in retrospect, but that I learned that said, this is how I can contribute to science.
Right.
Working with scientists to help them to share what they know with one another in teams, not public presentation style, but inside the workplace.
Right.
And so as I was trying to figure out how I could be part of agriculture, but in the space and the community that I'm now in, it wasn't for me to go back and be a research scientist. There weren't opportunities to be a teaching professor again. So I said, well, what's left? People. And that's turned out to be a very big part of what happens in science, is that it's people doing science. And so I found that there was opportunity, great opportunity there.
Oh, wow. That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you so much for the insight. So the audience, if you have any question, put it in the chat and I will be projecting it so that our panelists can see the question. So Maureen, I'm going to move to you. I know you went from the lab bench to research pipelines in Koteva to doing organizational learning now and training. What inspires that? Yes.
I think, again, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I'm just fascinated with sharing my story, but also hearing the stories of the other panelists today. I will say what inspired the switch was, I find it hard to call it a switch. I tend to think about it as a natural progression in my career because it felt like a full circle moment for me. Yes, my background has always been in the sciences and I started my career as a research scientist, but I've always loved helping people develop. I've always enjoyed being part of someone else's growth journey. I've always loved helping people get from where they are to where they want to be. And I've been doing this, dabbling in it since I can remember. I remember in undergrad, for those of you who are from Nigeria, I went to Lagos State University and I graduated with my bachelor's of science in microbiology. But even while I was an undergraduate student, I realized that we had a lot of professors who were really brilliant and knew their stuff, but they had a hard time translating that knowledge to we, the students. But then I had a surprisingly easy time breaking down some of those complex concepts into like easy to digest concepts. And so when I realized that a lot of my peers in undergrad were struggling to just understand the material that our professors were teaching, I took it upon myself to start tutorial sessions for my peers. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this material, I'll go back, I'll study it, I'll break it down, and I'll come back. And, for an hour or two, after school, if you want to, you can stay back and we can have a tutorial session together where I teach you this material in a way that's easy for you to understand. And that's how it all started. I was doing that for my peers since I was in 200 level, which is, sophomore year, all the way to graduation. And I started getting feedback from my friends, my peers saying, wow, thank you for doing this. Because of you, I was able to pass this exam. Because of you, I was able to do well on this test. And for me, it actually brought a lot of joy because I could really see the light bulb moment in people, like the moment where they go from, oh, I didn't understand this before, to, oh, now I get it. And that brought me a lot of joy. So the whole reason I went to graduate school was because I enjoyed teaching so much and I wanted to become a professor. Fast forward to moving to the United States, starting my PhD at Indiana University, still studying microbiology and doing research in microbiology at the graduate school level. But this love of teaching, of developing people, followed me to Indiana University. And, on top of my scientific research, I was, again, dabbling in people development, extracurricular activities is what I will call it. And I did that again throughout undergrad. Fast forward to when I started my career at Corteva Agriscience, which is a big competitor with Monsanto, by the way. Started in research, still following that scientific, linear career path. But again, learning and development followed me into Corteva. And so I found myself taking on projects, on top of my regular role as a research scientist that involved people and organizational development. I found myself identifying gaps in things like our onboarding process or the learning and development options that we had for research scientists at the company, and bridging those gaps, really stepping up to the plate to say, hey, I enjoy doing this. I found this gap. I have some ideas. I will bring a couple of, fellow champions together. We'll work on this. And that's kind of how it started for me at Corteva. And I revamped our onboarding system. I started developing, designing, and facilitating some training programs for my peers at work. And it was starting to gain traction and people were starting to notice, but importantly, there was return on that type of investment. And I wasn't asking for any budget. I was doing all of this stuff on top of my regular job. It wasn't costing the organization anything, but we were seeing results. And so that's kind of how people at work, and especially my leadership team, came to know my name. And so fast forward to around 2022, 2023, we went through a big reorg at the company, new leadership team and everything. And with that reorganization came some new roles that were created that didn't really exist before at the organization. And one of those roles was the talent development lead role. And I was essentially tapped on the shoulder to take on that role because it really was something that I had already been doing throughout my career up until that point, on top of being a research scientist, but I was really generating results in doing all that. And it was a passion of mine. It didn't feel like work. So when I was asked to, if I would be interested in this role to really continue and take what I was doing already to the next level and switch, which it was going to be a career pivot for me, big one, really moving away from research to talent development full-time, and it being my job title. It had never been my job title until that point. It had never been the thing I was evaluated on at the end of the year until the switch. But they were essentially saying, hey, if you love this so much, here's the opportunity. We think you're doing great work. We think you'll excel in this role. Think about it. And that was the beginning for me. So it was a full circle moment where I wanted to teach. I had always loved teaching. In graduate school, I realized very quickly that I still love teaching, but I wasn't sure I wanted to do it in an academic setting. And that's how I went into industry. But then in industry, I learned that you can continue to teach and you can continue to develop people, just not in a classroom setting. And I fully embraced all of that. And when the opportunity came, it was a situation of opportunity sort of meeting preparation, and the stars aligned.
Oh, wow. I love it. Opportunities meet preparation, and then the stars align. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Steve, I'm going to come to you to ask similar question. You went from Microsoft. People don't go from Microsoft to opening an AgTech company. So I really want to hear, what is the story there? Why did you make that decision?
Well, I mean, I spent so much of my career in technology. And while it was an amazing company to work for, and for the companies I'd worked for before that, working with different partners and collaborators, I got to the point where I said, well, is this it? Like, how can I make a difference in a way that, frankly, I could explain to my parents, my grandparents, that I'm making a tangible impact in the world? And so I'd had a real good itch for entrepreneurship for many years, and had funneled that through the company. And I think it really kind of came down to, how can I make a difference beyond that? And there was risk, which we can talk about later, but how can I inspire my children to get really engaged and involved in the world around us when it comes to impacting food and food security, which matters.
Wow. That makes sense. Thank you so much. So, Jonathan, I'll come back to you with a question that has been on my mind for a while. So I'm hoping for some clarity. I know that most of the time when professionals move from one field to a whole different field, especially people with science background, I can say, there's that credibility where people look at you as you're not credible, like you're not supposed to be doing this. You should be doing this. So how can leaders earn trust in this completely new field that they've chosen to go to when they didn't start with that? Yeah.
So I think the question, though, the phrase that you're referring to is rebranding. So helping people to see you for who you want to be versus who you used to be.
Right.
And that's difficult. I think it's more difficult when we're making small changes than we're making big changes. That's just what comes to my mind as you ask that question. Mine was a big change. I made a very large change from being a professor to this leadership and development company where I'm on my own. And the key was I went right back to my relationships that I already had. So I didn't have to prove my credibility as a person. I just had to prove my credibility as in my competency, my ability to do the job. And trust is always the first place to start a relationship in who you are as a person. Then people will give you a chance to demonstrate your skills, your knowledge in the area. And so for me, I went right back into my professional relationship. All of those people that I went to school with, all of those people that I worked with in the past, that's where I went to say, I'm looking to do this new thing. I want to do this new thing. First, can you guide me on the value of this in your world? So I engaged them very early when I was still vulnerable, thinking that this is what I might want to do. I engaged them very early, that professional network that I already had. I did two things. One, I didn't start creating the network when I needed it. And I engaged that network early. I didn't wait until, okay, I've already got all of the training and the development and the skills and went back to school and did all those things. I started a business and then went out and created a new community. That's overwhelming. We know a lot of people already in our world. We need to keep cultivating those relationships.
Right.
And a phrase of mine that I hope will show up in the chat here, and it's just to say that the network is almost always the answer. Your network is almost always the answer. When you're looking for something, go out and use your network. But you have to have the network to start with.
I agree. Yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense. What I'm hearing you say is you don't wait to need your network before you start building it. Build all the network, keep the relationships, so that when you need the network, you can go back to them and you're not trying to build trust. You already have their trust at that point. I think that makes a lot of sense. I see Okechukwu asking a question in the chat. He said, as I consider moving from my current career role to a completely new field, what steps can I take to confidently translate my existing skills and experiences into this new path?
I'm going to start with my phrase.
Okay.
The network is almost always the answer. So go out and talk to people who are doing the thing that you want to do and hear their stories. This kind of event here of hearing other people's stories is really, really powerful. And going and doing that with lots of people, one-on-one, here you've just invited 3 people that are more than willing to share their stories. It's very easy to get people to talk about themselves. So go out and ask them, tell me your story. How did you do that? And what we're doing in that networking session is that we're imagining ourselves in their shoes. Could I do that? What are my starting points? Where do I begin? What would I add to my portfolio to make that journey, that transition? So that's how you get started. And confidently is the word that I picked up in that question. Is you're not going to do it you're going to do it with courage, not necessarily with confidence. But confidence just means that I know a path. I have a path. I see what I'm choosing to not do. That's often what we're most concerned about, is I'm making this choice. And it's hard for us to make harder for us to make our own choice than it is to do what other people have chosen for us. And I think in each of these stories, we're making our own choices, and that's what looks like it's different than, okay, I responded to somebody else's choice. And that's what takes the confidence, I think.
Thank you. That's really insightful. And I like how you differentiated between confidence and courage. That's key. A lot of times people mix it up, and it's really not the same. Sometimes you're not confident. You just need to have the courage to keep going, even though you are afraid. Thank you. Maureen, do you want to comment on that question? I wanted to ask you a similar question, so you might as well answer it for yourself, and that way the person can get more insights.
I think one of the first things that you need to do if you're considering switching from one career path to a different one, especially if that new one is really very different, it's a huge pivot from what you're doing now, is to have the radical self-honesty and self-awareness to ask why you are wanting to make that switch, because that's going to be your foundation. It's going to be your North Star for, for Jonathan, it was, family. Same thing for Steve. It was, wanting to inspire his children and wanting to do work that made him feel fulfilled. For me, it was, it was just, I could not say no to doing work that really got me energized, excited to wake up in the morning. And you're telling me I can now do this full time. You're telling me that this is going to be my role, not something that I did on the side. Sign me up. I mean, that doesn't mean that there won't be work to do, because I will say for me, going from core sciences to essentially human resources and human development, this isn't something I went to school for. Yes, I had been doing it in a way, winging it and creating some good outcomes, but I didn't have the credentials to show that I could do this. I didn't actually have a lot of people that I would say were in that space. So I didn't even have the network to start. I was pivoting, in the same company where I had started my career as a research scientist. So for me, I really did have to go out there and build that community early on. And one of the ways that I did it, and that also doubled as a way to gain credibility in that new space, was joining professional associations. So soon after I said yes to this pivot and I started my role as talent development lead, I joined the Association for Talent Development. I became a national member, but I also became a local chapter member. And that local chapter membership was really what allowed me to walk into a fold of people who were already in this space, who were professionals, and learn. And I did a lot of learning. I was such a sponge. And what I realized is that there are a lot of things that you may not know now that will translate really well into your new role or your new career path, but they will. Imagine my shock when I learned that we also use the scientific method in talent development. But I learned the scientific method as a research as a scientist. But there are a lot of things that translate, like project management. When you're managing, your research project as a graduate student or as a career researcher like I was, you're going to be managing projects. Also is in whatever role you're going to be in. You're going to be using your critical thinking skills. You're going to be using your communication skills. So right off the bat, there are already things that are transferable across multiple different disciplines that you can leverage. And for the rest, you become a sponge. You learn, you find the communities that will allow you the best opportunities to learn. You plug in and you become a sponge. I started volunteering in local chapter events. I volunteered to present at some of our small interest group meetings. And that way your name is out there. People start to know you and associate you with that role. And that's how you start to build a new brand. And, you know, have people see you for who you want to be versus who you were before. So I would say start with that radical self-honesty, understand your why, network. It's important whether you started building the network before the switch or you start to build it afterwards. Jonathan was right. The answer is often always in the network. And then be a sponge, learn and grow in that new space. And that's how you develop the confidence. You start with the courage, you develop the confidence as you build skill.
Thank you. That was really deep. I had a lot of points that I was just trying to internalize. You know, it's like you need to volunteer, put yourself out there, go find the people if you don't have them already, and then learn. Just be a sponge and learn. So Steve, I'm going to turn to you with a different question. I know your background is in technology and software. I also know farmers are very difficult people firsthand. I'm just wondering, how do you communicate with them with your high-level knowledge to connect with them, to get them to trust you, to even be the one to bring this solution to them? That can be easy.
Yeah, I think humility is really key, right? And back to Maureen's point on being a sponge, I often would have kind of putting myself in their shoes. I sit down with some of them initially. Well, and really, frankly, I started learning by sitting down, by doing a focus group. So we all brought in, I worked with the local community college. They had an ag advisory board. And so they brought their farmers in that are on their ag advisory board, mostly around curriculum, right, and education. And I was still at Microsoft at the time. I brought in some of my employees and we talked about, you know, IoT and blockchain and cybersecurity and some of the other things you've actually covered in this conference. And they kind of came back to and said, all right, that's all great and sounds fancy, but let's be practical. And I want to actually talk about, here are my challenges, and my challenges are understanding the weather, right? I've got 7 apps that I look at for the weather. And how do I know which one to believe and how can I better make decisions? And they would share stories like where they would drive a tractor or a $500,000 or $1 million sprayer 30 miles down the road, which at 10 miles an hour could take 2-3 hours, right? They get to the other side and then it's raining. And so they would have this downtime then that they would have to call somebody to come and get them. And it was just wasted time. So really kind of getting into their mindset around, well, what's keeping you up at night? Like, where are your pain points, if you will? And then the other piece was, I often found that they would view me as, oh, you're this tech guy that is not just really kind of grounded in reality. Like that would be, or really smart guy or whatever. And I'm like, no, like let me actually, together, if we take your perspective on the challenges that you're facing in your farm, I don't know what those are. I haven't walked in your shoes, right. And I'm not figured out either, just like you don't have all of farming figured out, right? So let's talk about kind of what your challenges are, and then maybe we can weave a little bit of process, technology, solutions in together, and be really, back to humility, cognizant or aware that it's okay even for us to make mistakes as we try to solve your solution, right? And frankly, it's expected to make mistakes. Let's do that together, and let's make and kind of keep figuring out and iterating and getting back on our feet together and solve that through partnership and collaboration. The power of two.
Yeah, I see. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I think what I'm hearing from you is not assuming you have all the answers or assuming you know what they want. Just go out and ask them and get them be part of what you are, the solutions that you're bringing to them. That way you get better response. Thank you so much. Jonathan, I'll switch to you with a different question, which is, I know sometimes people may be in a hurry to switch their career, right? And it may not always be a great decision. Sometimes people are just running from something. From the perspective of a leadership coach, how do you kind of help people balance that decision where it's like they're not making it too quick such that it becomes a disaster, or you really need to make this switch because this is what you truly want and you're running towards purpose? How do you guide people through that kind of confusion?
So you said the answer right there in your question. You're running toward purpose. How do you know if you're running toward purpose? You need to know what your purpose is. You need to, and I think that Dr. Maureen has said this already. It's about the values that you have. Do you know your values? Do you know what's important to you? I shared in my introduction, family is going to show up at the top of my values list. And I'll ask the question, is this, is it meeting the needs of my family? So that's an example of making a career shift, but then I had to figure, well, which one do I need to shift to, and how is it aligned with my purpose and my values? So in my work, that's what I get to do. I get to do leadership coaching, and that's, people are coming to me specifically to help identify what are the things that are important to me, what are the opportunities that exist that align with that align better with me. So I want to come back and just reframe it. There are two reasons why we might leave a role or leave a job. Is one, it's a short term. I might have it's not a good manager. I'm not doing work that's inspiring. Those I would call are short-term reasons for leaving. They're good reasons for leaving a job, a role. But there's a difference between leaving a job or a role and leaving a career. And, and I think the story we're all telling is that the career is fluid and it keeps moving. I don't feel like I've really changed careers. I changed the things that I do inside of my job, because for me, I've been living it, so it feels natural. For somebody on the outside, it looks like it was discrete steps. Maureen told the story. It was just a continuum. So let's just, but this, for the sake of the conversation, there's a short-term reason for leaving a role, and there's a different set of reasons perhaps for leaving your career. And your career is about your values. It's about the impact that you want to make. So Steve, you mentioned that you wanted to see and understand the impact. Agriculture, we have a beautiful thing. We get to have a lot of purpose. So you were searching for that, Steve, and you said, oh my gosh, this career over in this field, or this roles in this field have a lot of impact, and impact is important to me. Like that, you expressed it, of how you figure out that you're moving toward something that's better aligned with who you are as a person. And that's a very difficult thing to do by ourselves. And you don't need a coach to do that. You just need people who are going to hold you honest to your answers. And so there are easy tools out there. Just, you need vocabulary to describe your values and what's important to you. That often helps. And then asking yourself the question, if you're saying that stability is important to me, and asking yourself the question, how are you living stability in your life? How are you showing up stability in your work or having an impact? And just asking yourself those questions to see how well aligned you are to those values, and have somebody push back on that.
Right.
And that's the hard questions. And you have to say it out loud to them, because when we say things out loud, someone else, we know whether it's right or not. But if we say it in our head, we're very much more able to fool ourselves.
I see. That makes a lot of sense.
Partners, having a community.
Yeah, thank you so much for those insights. And Maureen, I'm going to ask you, there's often a lot of resistance. I first say myself. So I want to see from your perspective, when you choose to do this switch from science to not so science, what are some of those resistances, of whether it is internal or external, from within yourself or from people? And how do you just kind of keep pushing past it and say, well, whether or not you approve, I'm just going to do what I feel is right for me?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, and one I think a lot of people go through. For me personally, there was pressure both internally and externally. Externally, I was still working in an agriculture research company, a company that I had started my career in as a scientist, and I was pivoting. So naturally, I had people think I was crazy. You know, what do you mean you're pivoting to talent development? What even is talent development? You know, and some people just didn't understand it. Personally, it was somewhat clear to me what my career progression would look like if I had remained as a research scientist. Honestly, pivoting in the way that I did was sort of walking into a black hole. I didn't really know what my career would look like following that pivot. I had a fair understanding of what it would look like if I remained where I was, but walking into this role, what did growth look like for me? What did development look like for me? You know, how do I climb the ladder, so to speak? I didn't know any of that. And so that was a risk. I didn't know if I was shooting myself in the foot, even financially, right? Because, you know, there's a saying out there that when things go wrong, or when shit hits the fan, so to speak, you know, one of the first roles that get cut in organizations are roles in HR, are roles in talent development, learning and development, because those are roles that are not typically recognized as roles that are contributing to the bottom line. As a research scientist, I knew that the work I was doing directly or indirectly was affecting the end product, right? As a learning and development professional, it was more like I was now asking for money to create these programs to help. I mean, I knew the impact of what I was doing, but it was a little bit more difficult to translate into dollars and cents from a bottom line perspective. So there was risk there, and I struggled with that. I also struggled with the fact that I had spent, you know, a good amount of time studying to become a scientist, you know, going through high school, college, undergrad, graduate school, getting a PhD. That's like 12 or more years of schooling just to be in this career path. And now you're pivoting to something else. I had people ask me, well, does that mean you're no longer a doctor? You know, does that mean your PhD doesn't count? And I told them, you know, I will always be a doctor. I worked for my PhD. I earned it through blood, sweat, and tears. It will never go away. Will I really be practicing as a microbiologist anymore? Not really, but all of the skills I learned as a undergrad, graduate student, and in my early career, I will still be bringing into this new role. So there was some resistance, pressure, push and pull. I really had to talk to people that I trusted. I had conversations with my partner. I had conversations with mentors. Like Jonathan said, saying it out loud to trusted people and saying, hey, this is an opportunity that has come to me. I'm weighing the decision. I didn't say yes right away. I mean, it took me maybe a month or two to even get back to them after they said, hey, would you be interested in stepping into this role? Because I really wanted to make sure that I was doing right by myself, my values, my family, the people who depend on my finances, right? All the things. I had to consider all of it before I went and said yes. Ultimately, what drove me to saying yes was I was just ready to pursue joy at that point in my life. That was the thing that was more important to me than anything else. It was pursuing joy. So I was able to walk into uncertainty because what I was going to be doing was going to bring me a lot of joy.
Wow, thank you so much for that answer. So it's like there is some resistance, both internally and externally, but then ultimately you chose to just go the path that you feel like this is going to bring me the most happiness. So it's uncertain, but then we're going to figure it out on the way.
Yes.
That is so amazing. So Steve, I would ask you a similar question. You chose the path of an entrepreneur. That's not safe. When you are at the job at Microsoft, you're sure of the paycheck. Now you go out and you are the boss, and we are looking at you and expecting you to give us our paycheck. So you have to figure out so many things. You have to figure out your investors, the business side of things, not knowing if you're going to scale this business. How did you overcome all of that and still say, I'm going to lock in on it and keep going, not knowing if it's going to work or not? With the statistics of how often startups don't make it. I'm sure you know that statistics.
Yeah. Well, one is I would say you never entirely overcome. You recognize that all of us have fear. My wife's a a counselor, a mental health counselor. And I mean, it doesn't matter if she's talking to, if her client is a medical doctor or a surgeon or a Hollywood star. Everybody, all of us have fear in there, right? And so I think recognizing that is really key, and that we can overcome it. I'd say second is getting back to the why, right? Just like Jonathan and Maureen have talked about in some of the comments in here. I love Faith's comments in here throughout here around like building relationships even before you need it, and so on. But so getting back to that is really important around, well, why the heck am I doing this? And you're right, it's a different set of pressures than you have where you're on what we in the US call a W-2 or a corporate job but frankly, in this world that we're in, we see even on the corporate side more and more layoffs, right? I mean, Amazon doing 30,000 layoffs a few weeks ago, and it's more common these days. And you really, in that side of things, you have that kind of cloud hanging over your head, particularly when you watch layoffs happen. And you're like, well, wait, these people were really good people at what they did. How did they get laid off? So at least with entrepreneurship, you have a little more control around, all right, let's get on board. And then it's really kind of crowdsourcing. So it's coming back to, for the why, talking to the growers, talking to the people that I initially got started with, and hey, does this make sense what I'm doing? Right? Am I still on the right track? Are we solving for what we originally talked about, or even a variation on a theme where it matters to you? I think is really key. And then finally, I mean, a spouse or your partner, your family, right? Others, as Maureen said earlier, that kind of financially depend on you, kind of do a gut check with them, right? Like, hey, does this make sense? I mean, so often you have this self-doubt. So it's not even fear. It's a self-doubt. Like, man, I've just been banging my head against the wall. The right thing. But I can't agree more to your point. Like the pressure, or what keeps me up at night more, is how do I make sure that week down the road that we're still fine stability?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like how you put it, right? Because even if you have a job, yeah, you are hoping you get a paycheck, but you might not have a job at the end of the month, right? There's that risk for everybody. So that risk is always on the table. But choosing to be an entrepreneur, at least you have some sort of control. So thank you so much for that feedback. We have less than 10 minutes on this panel. So I'll ask all of you one final question, beginning with you, Jonathan. If you're to give one piece of advice to someone who is at that point of career pivot and they're just questioning, why am I doing this? Does it make sense to do this? What would be that advice that you give that person listening in on how to kind of progress, just as a way to wrap up the conversation?
So I've already said it. The answer's in your network. So have a robust network. Do that now, even before you ask that question. Maureen said opportunity cost. Don't be afraid. The fact that I have invested all of this time, it is all going to be part of who you are. You don't lose all of that education, all of those experiences. You just incorporate them into new ones. And then belong to communities. That's my new piece of advice to close. Belong to as many communities as you can justify, right? And talk to people. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Maureen, similar questions for you.
Yes. So if you're in that place where you are thinking about pivoting in your career, the advice that I'll give is, number one, understand why you're doing it, know it, and be honest with yourself, because it's that thing that'll keep you going through the risk, through the uncertainty. If things go wrong, even as you start that career pivot, it's the one thing that will keep your head above water, because you understood your why and you understood exactly what you're moving towards, right? And so understand that first. Don't just pivot for the sake of pivoting, or pivot because there's a new thing and you're interested in going into it without really doing that self-reflection. And once you've identified that, then everything else Jonathan says applies. Start building that network immediately. Start reaching out to the people who are doing things that you want to do. Start learning from them, but also be smart, right? Pivot with sense. Don't just walk out of a job, that is giving you a steady paycheck if you don't have anything else lined up, especially not in our current job market. You do have to apply some tact. You do have to make sure that you're planning, and it's not a rushed decision. So if you need time at a job while you're building skills that will allow you to be able to pivot, then do that without compromising on the quality of the job you're doing at the moment. In my story, I was a scientist, but I was doing talent development work on the side. I didn't slack in my job as a research scientist. So I was still killing it, and you still need to be killing it at your actual day job while you're building the skills, or you're doing all the extra things that you love that bring you joy, or building the skills that will allow you to pivot. So don't rush, and make sure that you are applying a level of wisdom as you think about it.
Thank you. That was really deep. It's like you need to figure out the skill acquisition cycle, right? It takes time to learn certain things, and you have to be patient and humble to admit that you're not going to know it all on the first day, but applying yourself, then you get better. Steve, same question for you as we wrap up.
Yeah, Maureen's point on you have to be careful in your day job to not get distracted. Then you put your job at risk as you're figuring things out, and it is so easy to do that. However, with that, if there is an opportunity within your organization that you're currently in to stick your toe in, to volunteer, to committee, to maybe it's some sort of volunteer day, that connect the dots between what you're currently doing and find it within your organization. I think that's a plus. And of course, talk to your boss if there's a way to get even recognition for that along the way. Hey, that's a win, right? Maybe you can even evolve the role that you're currently in to include some of your passion as part of that. So starting with volunteering inside and outside of work, doing side gig type of thing, again, being careful not to have it distract from your core is key as well, and see where your mission integrates in across the board. And as a number of you said, including, I was just seeing Ngozi in terms of comments, like belong to as many communities as possible and contribute to those communities. Learn from each other, be the thought leader, soak it all up.
Thank you so much for that insightful feedback. And a lot of people have been commenting to me to say, oh wow, they're learning a lot from the comments. So I'm looking everywhere to see what people are saying to me. I see Annie, he said, well said, Dr. Maureen. We must keep on applying ourselves in our day job, even as we work on our mission on the side. That is true. And then Fortune says, thank you, Jonathan. Community is very important in one's career progression. Thank you so much for this wonderful panel. It's just been a learning journey. Thank you again for taking time out of Sunday morning. That's not typical, right? To come here and share. It's actually 5 p.m. in Nigeria now, so it's not morning in Nigeria. A lot of our audience are from West Africa, so balancing the time difference kind of it can be challenging. So we are going to move on to the next session. I'm going to give a round of applause to our speakers. I have to use my feature since now I remember I have this feature. Thank you so much, Steve. I'm going to leave you just get back on stage because we're moving straight to the pitch. And then Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming. Thank you, Maureen, for your time. I appreciate you coming to share. So now we are switching gears to go into the pitch. For me, this is the part that has been most exciting. Like I'm waiting for it.
Awesome. Hey, I'm gonna rejoin with Chrome so I can have the background.
Oh, okay. All right.
If that's okay. All right. See you in a minute.
Okay. Dean, welcome on stage. Thank you so much for coming. I'm looking for Steve is here to, okay, he's trying to fix the background. The third judge is yet to be here. Let's see.
By the way, I joined with Edge, and I do see my background flipped, but all the
It looks
colors-
right. It looks right to me. That's
looking at myself like a mirror.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay, just give me one moment. Okay, I'm looking to see that all the contestants are backstage. I see some of them at the back of the stage, not everyone yet. We're waiting for the two judges so that we can get straight into the session. Okay, Chidebere is here. He's the first person. I want all the judges to be on stage before we start. So while we're doing that, what has the session been for us so far? Well, we'll just give a moment for our judges to get settled on the stage and we can start the session. Bukola says, welcome to you. Thank you so much for coming and being here so early. I really appreciate that. So let's kind of reset the room a bit. We are wrapping up. We are 2 hours in. The Ascension ScholarUP Global Conference will be done in about 3 hours. I honestly cannot wait for it to be done. It's been a lot that has gone into this planning process, and I'm so excited to see it come to life. And just yesterday, I was asking people, what does the Ascension mean to you personally? These are some of the responses that we got. So if you're in the chat, let me know as you're looking at the screen. For you as a person, when you hear the word Ascension, what does it mean to you? For some people, they said it meant growth. For other people, it meant ascending into wholeness. For some people, it meant purpose. It meant to be transformational, possibilities, clarity, next level. So tell me in the chat, what does the Ascension mean to you as we get started on this session? I see that Cynthia, the second judge, she just joined right now. So I'm going to bringing her up the stage. Okay, Steve is now ready. Welcome on board, Steve. And then we have Cynthia. Cynthia is the third person. Thank you all for agreeing to come judge this contest. It's going to be 40 minutes. The contestants already have the rubric. They know what you'll be assessing them on. As I bring up the first contestant, they are going to have 2 minutes to pitch. So each of the contestants will have 2 minutes to go on to give their pitch. You have 2 minutes to ask them questions, get some feedback while you fill up your scoring board, and then we'll bring up the next contestants. So we have 3 contestants in all. So before we get started, let me introduce the judges quickly. Dean, Steve, I just introduced, so I don't need to reintroduce him again. But Dean's career spans global development, startups, and advanced technology. He's a Georgetown and INSEAD alumnus. He was a member of McKinsey's tech practice. At Microsoft, he's been in Microsoft for 20 years. He has led major innovations from early internet and Xbox to AI activities. And now he drives research focused on AI efforts as a strategic intrapreneur. That's a different word, right? Steve is intrapreneur. We have to tell the difference between the two of them. That is really good. Cynthia, do you hear me? I see that your camera is still off and you're muted. I don't know if you can hear me. Cynthia, can you hear me? I don't know if you have some network issues or not. So, but I'm going to get started. So we'll assume we have 2 judges at this point. If Cynthia is able to hear and she does the scoring, that would be great. So let's get started because I want us to be on time. Okay. So contestant number 1 is Chidebere, all the way from Nigeria. So just as I explained to you guys, let me add my badges to the screen. That way you know when your time is up. Okay, so when you see me flash this, you know you have 30 more seconds to go. Then you begin to wrap up. And then I'm going to add the other signal so that when you see that, then you know your time is up. So you want to stay on time to do your pitch in 2 minutes. Okay, so this is an indicator that your time is up. And if you keep going after this, I'm going to take you out of the stage. So that means you're going to lose the point for questioning. You already know that. I'm just repeating myself. So now we are going to bring in contestant number 1. Let me have my clock ready to go. Chidi Ebere. Welcome on stage. Chidebere is joining us all the way from Abia State, Nigeria. Thank you, Chidebere, for being here today. So you have 2 minutes to teach your wonderful idea that you've thought about and you've thought through. Your time starts now.
Okay, good evening, our panel of judges and our dear moderator, Dr. Maka. When I first heard about AI, I was confused. There were too many tools, too many websites, and too many things to learn. And I didn't even know where to start. And that is the same story for millions of young people, millions of people like you and I. They don't know where to start. They don't know where to begin with AI. And that is the here that AI can help you earn money. AI can help you build business. AI can help you change your life. And even AI can help you learn faster. There's a lot of things AI can help you do. And this is why we are building the AI Idea Bank, a simple website that helps everyone out there, every young person out there, to discover themselves, discover opportunities, and discover how AI can work for them. At the AI Idea Bank, we guide you. That's the first thing we do. And after that, as much as we guide you, you come in, you tell us something small about yourself. Instantly, our AI assistant shows you who you can become, what you can earn with AI, and the exact workflows that will help you do it. Our mission is simple: to make AI easy, to make opportunity accessible. And at the end of the day, we want every young person to say, I use AI and AI now works for me. This is the future. And we are building AI Idea Bank. Make AI work for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your pitch on AI Idea Bank. So now, Steve, Dean, questions for Chidebere based on what he presented.
Yeah, I love this idea because everyone's struggling with this. And question I would have is the interface like kind of a chat bot where you're just typing to it or talking to it and describing sort of what your goals are, and then it has, you know, kind of just responds and you go back and forth, or is it a different sort of form factor?
All right, thank you so much for the question. It's like a chatbot. Just like I mentioned, AI assistant. You come in, you register your details, you tell the AI assistant exactly what you do. You just make the AI assistant to understand you. That is the first step. Then instantly the AI shows you who you can become and how you can earn with AI. So it's that simple. That is what we do here, to guide you and also to show you the path to go. Thank you.
Awesome.
I like this. This is a great idea as well. How would you monetize it and ensure that it's sustainable from a business model perspective?
All right. Thank you so much. I love that question. Okay. The most important thing that we are looking at here, in as much as we are giving everyone free access, there is also the next there. As much as people discover themselves, we also have custom AI agent development. I mean, this is what I do. I am an AI automation specialist. So we are also giving opportunity for people that want to automate their entire business, for people that also want to subscribe for advanced automation. So we have opportunity for that. We also have plans to partner with schools and youth hubs, even NGOs, because these our AI Idea Bank is a gap that we have seen, not just here in Nigeria, but across Africa. So we are looking at helping bridge that gap. That is why we will also partner with different organizations and also give people custom AI agent development.
Okay, are you done with the questions?
I think so.
All right. Thank you so much, Chidebere. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your confidence. Thank you for your projecting your voice so loud. Let's give a round of applause for Chidebere. How did you think he did in the chat? Congratulations to you. So now you leave the stage. I'm going to bring in the contestant number 2. We have Stephanie. Stephanie, all the way from Anambra, Nigeria. That's my state. That's where I'm from. Welcome on the stage, Stephanie. So you have 2 minutes to pitch your idea. Your time starts now.
Good evening. In today's world, buying physical goods online still comes with a whole lot of gamble and uncertainties, scams, fraud. Buyers do not trust sellers, and sellers also do not trust buyers. The entire system still feels so shaky. I did not just read about it, I experienced it firsthand. A short story. I once visited my friend to have a little chit chat with her, and even before I could sit down, she was already screaming, "Steph, I've been scammed." At that moment, I felt so powerless, confused and annoyed at the same time. I went on to visit my aunt, and she was complaining about how she received a fake payment from a buyer. Now we have 2 people, one particular problem: no trust in online transaction. As a product manager, I thought of the best possible way to bring a solution to this. Then came Nexa. With Nexa, when a buyer makes payments, it gets locked in a digital logbox. Think of it like a smart contract escrow that holds the payment and only releases it to the seller only when the buyer confirms delivery. This helps to minimize and reduce fraud. We even made things easier by introducing AI. With AI, you can be able to verify sellers and also dictate suspicious behaviors. Nexa is feasible because there are already smart contract backed comments, but we are just automating it, making things smoother and easy. For our business model, we have low transaction fees and premium seller tools. The impact is simple: to bring to the traditional e-commerce safety, smoothness, transparency for everyday people to be able to buy and sell smoothly online. The entire selling and buying online it comes a lot with a whole lot of gamble, but Nexa is here to make things smooth. Nexa is scam proof. Scam proof is Nexa, and Nexa is what the economy needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for that wonderful pitch. So I'm going to hand it over to the judges to ask some questions.
Yeah, a quick question. Do you think this is an independent company? It does all of the protection end to end, or would you maybe partner with payment providers, banks, debit cards, and be more of a service provider to a financial institution?
So currently we are in MVP stage. Yes, with time we would have to bring in some financial institutions, but for now, because we are building on blockchain, it's a blockchain product. So for now we are just in our MVP stage trying to manage it. Then as we scale, all of that things will come in.
Very good, thank you.
Do you you're spot on, right? There's scams and all sorts. Who do you trust along the way, right? And do you see focusing on a particular marketplace initially, or being neutral across all marketplaces? And where do you get started with this, and how do you create a ripple effect across to other marketplaces?
So currently, because it's built on blockchain, we are trying to make things easier for crypto natives. Now we're starting with gadgets and practically physical goods that people buy every day. With time, we can expand and scale to. For now, for our MVP stage, we are dealing with gadgets and everything that people buy every day. For now, thank you.
Can I do just one more question? Because it feels like there's an opportunity for a community participation where individuals rate their experience with, given seller or seller with a buyer. I'm curious if that could be part of it, where you're leveraging the whole community that's participating in the product, or if it's just purely a technical solution.
Can I get the question again? Thank you.
Sure. Just wondering, so there's protection with technologically, but could you also have people that are using this capability? Could buyers rate sellers, sellers rate buyers, in a way that you're bringing in kind of the knowledge and the experience that people have had with each other?
So we, at your building, we have early testers. Currently, we have over 50 early testers that are building alongside with us, including buyers and sellers. So we are collecting feedback also from them, and also iterating and building and making things better. We are building from a user's perspective. We're not just building alone, we are building for the community. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much, Stephanie. And congratulations for making it to the finalist, right? Congratulations to all of you. I didn't say that at the beginning. So you're here, so that's a big deal. So I'm going to take you off the stage now and bring in contestant number 3. So contestant number 3, we have Wisdom joining us all the way from Rivers State, Nigeria. Wisdom, I hope your network is not going to kick you out. Okay, I'm going to skip. I think Wisdom is...
No, I hope not.
Okay, good. Yeah, now. So you have 2 minutes to do your pitch. Your time starts now.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And so Nigeria has a population of around 232 million people, and most of these are young people. And now, in search of global exposure and education, many desire to study and travel abroad. But the process of searching for opportunities online through scattered sites, it could be very tedious, slow, and very confusing. Definitely, Nigerians don't lack ambition. What they lack is a personalized guide for their dreams to be achieved. Now, what we're building is an AI platform that gives every Nigerian student or Nigerian or young person in Nigeria, using Nigeria as a case study, is a personalized study abroad recommendation. So this is how it works. The young person or the student enters what they want, their goals, their course of study, the country that they want to go to, their budget, and all of those academic history and timeline. Then with the help of AI, it goes through the internet, cross through the internet, through thousands of universities and opportunities that are online, and then recommends to them very personalized in real time. Now, this is going to be done in minutes, very, very little minutes. Now, as for feasibility, this idea wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago, but currently with the rise of AI and all of the data that we have at hand, this is very possible. And talking about the business model, how is this going to happen? Now, talking about the market is just a very huge one, just 232 million people just in Nigeria alone, and it could also scale to Africa and many other countries in Africa. So as for the business model, it's going to be a freemium where people come to see just some, ask some questions and do all of this and get the very basic ones. And then with time, we can also, for them to get premium insights, there's going to be the monetization coming there as well. Also, there could be affiliation with these universities and also other institutions like that. And our vision is democratize global education to make it accessible to all, right, for young Africans, but starting with Nigeria. And one accurate personalized match can just make all the difference in one young person's life. And once more, my name is Wisdom, and we are building the future for study abroad discovery for the young African. Thank you so much.
I was just about to kick you out, just on the nick of time. You would have just disappeared. All right, questions to the judges.
Yeah, so freemium is by the way, great aspiration and vision. Freemium is a great way to kind of get a large audience. What would be the trigger for people to kind of upgrade from free to paid? Have you kind of thought about how you would, separate the capabilities or encourage people to go to the paid tier?
Oh, thank you so much. So I think that model is already in place where we have like ChatGPT giving you the very basic things, the very functional things. So when they put in the basic things, they put in their information, and then they get recommendations from school. But if they're going to get very personalized, like mentors, going to get deep insights, recommendations that apply to them, then they're going to need to upgrade either to monthly or to yearly.
Got it. Okay, so finding the information is free, but then there's services that come on top. Makes sense.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wisdom, good presentation. How and would you include the opportunity providers, if you will, the universities, the employers, and so on? Would there be a component of them paying for, say, sponsorship, if you will, or getting preference in the results?
Okay, if I get the question correctly, what we're doing is more like partnership with these universities and also institutions, and then we're going to put it towards our target audience, which are the Nigerian or the young Nigerian. So they make the payment, but we are partnering with the institutions and universities.
I see. All right. So you'd have your universities and such would need to pay to be in the directory or to be discovered. Is that right?
Oh, so I think just getting started, they wouldn't need to pay. Probably when we've grown bigger and they'll need to run their ads, given our large database and audience, then they can now pay. But for starting points, I think more like going to be mutual.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, round of applause for wisdom. Congratulations for making it here. So I'm going to take you off the stage and invite contestant number 4, Confidence, joining all the way from Anambra, Nigeria. Confidence, you are welcome. You have 2 minutes to give your pitch, up to 2 minutes. Your time starts now.
Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So my name is Mobile Confidence. I'm a B2B lead generation specialist. And a few years ago, I nearly lost my job as a virtual salesperson for an interior decoration company. Not because I wasn't good at my job, but because every morning I woke up to tons of messages. And inside these tons of messages are people prizing the company's product, are people just curious to find out more about the company. And also inside these tons of messages are people that are ready to buy with their money at hand. And by the time I was able to sort through the noise and get to these people that are ready to buy, I found out that we have already lost them to our competitors or due to the delay in the reply. So this, taught me a lesson that, nobody really talks about, especially in sales, which is that delay is dangerous. And that 30 to 50% of businesses lose customers every day, not because of bad marketing, but because of delay in response. So this is why I am building an AI assistant, something that is practical, simple, and life-saving, especially to business owners. This AI assistant chats instantly with your customers on WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. It asks them the right qualifying questions, find out who is ready to buy at the moment, and then instantly allows the business owner in the business owner's dashboard and the AI assistant. Then the business owner will take it off from there and respond to these customers. So I am not just building a tool, I am solving the exact problem that nearly cost me my job years back. Thank you so much.
Over to you. Well done, Confidence.
Yeah. Maybe one question. I think this is super interesting. It solves, similar problems that I think we struggle with at Microsoft. Do you think it is purely just customer response, or could you actually, I'm thinking, because now the AI has seen all these customer conversations, could it start to do analysis for you as well and maybe start to see what products are trending or where the demand is? So would it just be for handling the communications, or could it grow into more of a general business solution?
Okay, thank you so much, Dean, for the question. Yes, it can scale up to that, but for now we are starting with more of response and lead qualification. So for now we are starting with lead qualification. Then from there, from the response we gather from our users, we cannot be able to scale the business to match their user interaction.
Very good. Thank you.
What a great presentation. And I love the name too, with confidence. What market segment would you focus on? I mean, is this small businesses that would use this? Is this large businesses that would use this? And how is the solution different than a chat bot that gives automated responses today?
Okay, thank you so much for the compliment and for the question, Steve. So starting first, we are starting with small businesses across Africa. Yes, because these are the people that majorly need this. So, for example, there was a time I wanted to book a photo section, and I had to set people at hand to, respond, to reach out to. I reached out to one of them, and the person did respond immediately. I had to leave that person and respond and, follow the person that responded immediately. So I found out that it's majorly small business owner that needs this at this initial stage. They can scale up to, higher businesses as business grows.
Thank you.
Maybe just one more, if I could. Would you build the AI system end to end, or would you build on top of kind of an existing AI platform?
Okay, for now we are starting with integration with other existing platforms. We are getting the APIs from other existing AIs, then APIs from other social media platforms as well for the initial, check of the prototype stage.
Perfect. That's what I would have done as well. So thank you.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Round of applause for you. So now we would go to contestant number 5. We have Mordecai, all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. Mordecai, welcome to the stage. You have 2 minutes to pitch your idea. You're muted, so unmute yourself so you don't shortchange your time. Can you unmute? Good. So
hello, good evening, everyone.
I hear you. Your time starts now.
China and Japanese children are among the world's smartest children in the world right now. They learn in their own mother languages. African children are forced to learn English as a filter language that's not theirs. That makes brilliant children seem dumb. And we have completely forgotten about 90 million physically challenged African children who have zero access to education. What if we can change both of this? 90 million primary school children in Kenya, Uganda, and Nigeria lack quality education. Why? They learn in English, not in Swahili or in their native languages. Qualified tutor costs about $50 to $100 per month, unaffordable. 90 million physically challenged children have no access to quality education options. Poor communication, lack infrastructure. What's the result? Brilliance wasted, potential lost, children left behind. Rafiki AI is an African-first innovative AI that speaks both English and native languages. In Swahili and Uganda, this Rafiki AI was fed with the CBC curriculum, and for Nigeria, the teacher in Nigeria, Pidgin language, where you can communicate, which is a general language in Nigeria. For physically challenged children, voice only for blind students, text-based for deaf students, simplified interface for modified impaired in it. Work on basic Nokia phone, no smartphone needed because an offline and online educational tutor. Also works on WhatsApp integrated. And it's a 1% per month charges of free for children with disabilities. Inspired by my own physically growing up as a kid, having been the best student in mathematics was having a problem in English. And I was looking, what is the gap in this? And this, I saw the red sign. Can I continue?
You can wrap up. You have 2 seconds.
Okay. Having this as a kid and everything, being the best in mathematics was having a problem in English. There was a barrier in my English, in a gap in this. I wish I could be taught my mathematics or all my education in my local languages. I can able to communicate more. This is how Rafiki AI does, and the teachers are not left behind. Even the parents are also included, which I give them a dashboard where they can monitor their children's
You need to stop now. Yeah, that's not how you wrap up. How you wrap up is you say thank you. That's not 2 seconds. Yeah, I'm handing it over to the judges now.
Yeah, I love this idea. I think one of the biggest societal impacts of AI will be in education. And I'm curious if you could go beyond translating the materials, the educational materials, and actually transform the learning experience so that it's more individual. And so it moves faster when the student is capable, and it slows down, and it's almost creating a custom learning experience for every single student. I don't know if that's part of the roadmap or something you would consider.
I think if you can come with a question like, do you mean being done for individual students?
Right. So one option would be to just take, English language material and translate it into a local language. But another option would be to use the strength of AI to kind of customize the learning experience for every student. So it's not like everyone gets the same course. It's customized and personalized a little bit based on the needs of the student.
Okay. All the subjects have been translated in the local languages and still have the English version of it.
Okay. Thank you.
And it's already in place, like working right.
Go ahead, please.
I said it's working right now, and the dashboard I have about a few students who have already registered into this solution.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Okay, thank you. I'll give it to Steve.
I love the concept, and that it ties to your upbringing and passion there. How would you scale this across schools? Is this something that you would partner with government on, or what would that look like?
Right now, I've started giving it out to the students as community-based, in the sense that for them to put it in place to see how it's going to help them, because AI is still new in the system. So I want to test it and see how it's going to be productive before I start scaling out to the government to see how they can embed, because changing the curriculum of the school system can't just be changed automatically. It takes time to be changed. So when it's useful to the children and they see how it's going to be useful to the community, they can see how they can adjust to the new AI tutor.
Thank you.
Okay, round of applause for Mordecai. Thank you so much for coming. Right now, we'll go to contestant number 6. We have Chietza. She's joining from Ohio here in the US. Chietza, African AI auntie. That's what she goes by. Welcome on the stage. You have 2 minutes to make your pitch. Hold on, let me have my timer. And your time starts now.
Thank you for this opportunity. Across Africa, millions of brilliant young minds graduate every year into unemployment, degrees in hand, but no direction. But what if we flip the script? Turning education into enterprise and students into CEOs. I'm Chietza Nyahuye, African AI auntie, the voice of a generation refusing to wait for permission to prosper. I've lived the struggle. After 2 US degrees and 700 job applications over 14 years in Zimbabwe, I never got a single interview. So when my niece asked, Auntie, how do I make money online? Since coming back to the US, I pivoted into tech and started building what we both needed, the AI plus digital entrepreneurship blueprint. Africa has 400 million young people, the world's youngest generation, yet too many have smartphones with no strategy and internet with no income. That's why the blueprint is not just a course, but it's a catalyst. We use storytelling, community, and hands-on digital skills to turn students into digital entrepreneurs, turning ideas into income and education into economic freedom. We've planted seeds at Unilag, Uniben, and our fast-growing WhatsApp community is already creating AI-powered business ideas with major digital activations to roll out in 2026. We're not talking about empowerment. We're training digital CEOs. And the next tech founders won't come from Silicon Valley, but from Soweto, Nairobi, Accra, and Lagos. We are raising $250,000 to bring the blueprint to 10 African universities, funding AI skills and micro ventures for over 1,000 students. You see, the future isn't waiting. It's being coded and created by African hands. The future is African. The future is now. Thank you.
Thank you. I like it. If I was a judge, I would say the future is African because I'm biased, right? I'm African too. Thank you so much for that beautiful pitch. I'll hand it over to them.
Yeah, I love this idea. I love the idea of kind of getting people when they're young and helping them to kind of form these AI habits and digital habits. So the mission I completely get, and it's awesome. Maybe you could speak a little more about monetization and sort of how you will, make it a profitable business.
Sure. So I've already actually published 2 books, Global Degree, African Roots, and then the AI plus Digital Entrepreneurship Blueprint itself. So the AI plus Digital Entrepreneurship Blueprint has been turned into a course. We are beta testing it. So it is a cost. The book itself is selling on Gumroad, because Gumroad is the only place that's accessible for African students, not Amazon. So I'm currently, it's for $12.99, but I will be adding the course, so it'll be packaged that way. Another way to monetize it is actually, as we're working through the different universities, so far I'm working with Unilag and Uniben, I have contacts that I'm more partnering with being introduced as a resource, because as we know, it's all about relationships. Nobody knows me, right? So I'd rather go with people who have the relationship capital to be able to introduce me. But then it could actually even be scaled to licensing it to different universities, so it becomes part of their regular curriculum that they offer to students.
Wonderful. That's a great answer. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, I love this great pitch. What role do you see professors and instructors taking in this, both at the university level and then in pre-college?
Well, with universities and with university professors, I'm seeing them not only themselves practicing it for themselves, because it is in a way it is a side hustle. But if you don't really understand how it works and how you and I'm more of those people who thinks that, I learn and I tell people, but I show people what to do, and then they can do it themselves. So for professors and teachers, it's for them to even practice within their own families. And so they better get a better understanding of, okay, I have proof this actually works. So that when they're teaching students, it's not theory. They actually have evidence of how this can actually impact their lives. I hope that answers your question.
Just one comment to add, by the way, as a real +1 on that, even kind of within Microsoft, we find that for AI, peer learning is super powerful, where someone experiences the technology, gets a certain amount of mastery, and then shares that. So huge +1 on that aspect of your plan.
Thank you, Dean.
Congratulations to you for making it to the finalists, and a round of applause for you.
Thank you, Dr. Amaka. Thank you.
You are welcome. We are gradually coming to the end. Oh, every good thing has an end. I wish it would not end. We have the last speech, contestant number 7, Florence. She is joining us all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Florence, you're welcome on the stage. Unmute yourself. You have 2 minutes to make your pitch. Your time starts now.
Good evening, the Ascension team and esteemed judges. My name is Florence Oluwakemi-Osaguje. I'm the founder of Adeoye Business Development Services and creator of SmartBiz app, a transformational solution to reduce SME failure rates in Africa. Statistics show that over 80% of our SMEs in Nigeria fail within their first 5 years, not because the founders lack passion, but because they lack access to knowledge, they lack funding, and they lack structure and digital tools. This is the gap Ileana was created to close. We support SMEs through business planning, training, market research, and capacity building. However, we discovered that consulting alone cannot reach millions. We need to scale with technology, and that's why we are building Smart Space. It is a business management app designed for African entrepreneurs. It will help businesses to set up structure, to generate business plans and proposals. It will help them track spending and profit, access resources, and trainings and mentorships. Think of SmartBiz as the business survival toolkit that every entrepreneur can carry about in their pocket. It is affordable, accessible, and localized. Our targets are the SMEs, the fashionpreneurs, the vendors, the creative, those that make up over 39 million SMEs in Nigeria alone and contribute almost 50% to GDP. To scale faster and build a strong MVP, we are seeking funding for MVP development, IP protection, marketing, and customer acquisition. This is not just a business. It is a movement to reduce SME failures, to create jobs, and to improve economic stability. Thank you for this opportunity. We are ready to build the future of SMEs in Africa, starting now.
Thank you so much for that pitch. You nearly jumped out of the screen. It's like that's a lot of passion. I'm going to hand it to the judges.
Wonderful, wonderful presentation. So, and also just a critical aspect of, the failure rates of SMEs all around the world is incredibly high. Do you have a sense of kind of what is the most critical information for the SMEs? Is it about, kind of business education? Is it about law and regulation, or any thoughts on what's going to be the most useful kind of knowledge that the app can give to the SMEs?
All right, thank you for that question. One of the things I mentioned that the app will help do is to build structure. I've been in the SME space for quite some time. All my work experience, I've been in the SME space actually. I've both been an entrepreneur and worked for other companies who are SMEs. You find out that one of the major reasons our SMEs fail is because we lack structure. The necessary things are not just put in place. And this is one of the first things, basic things that we are tackling with Smart Space.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love the energy. So
thank you.
Community, how would you leverage peer-to-peer and peer-to-many community from other SMEs across this, both within Africa and perhaps even from outside of Africa?
I'm not sure I got that. Please, could you repeat that?
So is part of what I think you're talking about is an AI platform to enable structure around building a small to medium enterprise. To what degree is it AI that's bringing that all together versus also encouragement of from others that have been successful? Mentors, tutors, and so on. Is that a component of it, or is it predominantly just straight AI?
It's an app, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing the app is helping SME owners to do is to help them, is to ensure that their business do not add to the statistics of failed SMEs in Nigeria, in Africa. That's on one hand. On the other hand, we're going to be building a community, right? We have SMEs coming in, we have SMEs hubs, we have organizations who are interested in partnering with SMEs in the same space. So you have the community building with time. You have SMEs being able to do businesses with one another. You have them being able to assess, excuse me. You have them also being able to assess other services, mentorships, even insights, market insights that they need to do well, to scale, to succeed in their enterprises.
Thank you.
I don't know if I question.
A round of applause for Florence. Congratulations to you. Thank you for making it to the finalist stage. I'm going to give a minute or two first to you, Steve, just final comments, encouragement for all the contestants that are listening in, and then to Dean, and then we wrap up this session.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, Dr. Amaka, you had quite a pool of applicants. And so you had the tough decisions to make to get these final 7 contestants to today. And so I first would say huge congratulations to all 7 of you for making you through that. And second, the energy around presenting is huge, right? Storytelling is huge. And so great job on telling that. African AI Auntie in particular, I was really just love that storytelling altogether, and certainly there's so much that the rest of us can learn from that, myself included. So thank you. And I would say what's interesting to me sitting in Washington State, USA, it's really amazing, impressive, just hearing the voices of entrepreneurship from the African continent. Some of you not from the African continent, but ultimately tied to your roots. And so I very much appreciate the passion, the energy, the resourcefulness, and frankly, your quest to embrace AI as ways to empower even more of you across the board. So thank you to all of you, and congratulations for a job well done today.
Thank you so much, Steve. Over to you, Dean.
Yeah, similar for me. I just love the energy and the joy that you see in the presentations and the passion. I love the fact that all of the presentations have a business model to make money, but also the aspiration to do some broader good for society. And so that was amazing. I also saw 2 or 3 intersections where I was like, wow, if this presenter and this presenter got together, it'd be even more powerful, because, there's so many opportunities for synergy, even just in these 7 presentations. And then I love the fact that AI is kind of the thread that just runs through it. And in my mind, AI is such a transformational technology that if you're thinking of a business opportunity and you don't have AI in it somewhere, you may be limiting your potential. And also I was super impressed that people could do this in 2 minutes. I could not do that myself. So the succinctness, the brevity, but still kind of conveying the full vision of what was possible was super impressive to me. So those were my takeaways.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for your time. Now I'll leave you to your Sunday morning. Dean, I'll hold on to you for 20 more minutes for the final keynote of the conference. So Dean will be giving a keynote which just naturally ties into the conversation from the contest, future-proofing your career through innovation. So he will be sharing with us lessons from his 20 years in Microsoft. I want to learn all of those lessons. So let me just see what our friends in the chat are saying while you get your slides ready. Do you have your slides uploaded?
Yep, let me just, I was going to present them from my laptop, if that's okay, or did I need to upload first?
You need to upload it to this StreamYard.
Okay, and I do that through the app, or?
You click present.
Present, okay.
And then you can upload it.
Okay.
So while Dean is getting his slides ready, let's see what our friends are saying. I see Chioma, she said, these pitches are giving fire. Well, I agree with you. And then Esther says, great idea, Mordecai. Then we have Eric. So one of the societal impact of AI will be education, a great discovery there. Thank you, Eric, for your insights. And then we have Dr. Ellen all the way from the UK. She says, good one, Dean. Well, she's saying she likes your comments. Thank you so much. And Esther says she loved what she's watching, and we have a lot of people clapping. I love an engaged audience. Like, this is a lot of engagement. Thank you all for being here and making this possible. Eniola says this is amazing. Dean, did you see the present button?
Yes, it's just uploading right now.
Okay, cool. All right. Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have Shola. Africa has over 200 million youths that have phone without strategy, internet, or without income. That's deep stats. Like, we need to change that. We need to change that statistic to better statistics. Elizabeth says, this is so amazing. I agree with you. I was literally jumping out of my seat while I was listening to them. Now, let me make a quick announcement before Dean starts. At the end of his keynote, that will be the end of this session. So we'll be wrapping up on a different live stream. The link has been shared in the chat, and I'm projecting it now. So once Dean ends, we're going to switch to that live stream. And that's because we can't stream longer than 4 hours, right? So once he's done, we'll switch, and then we wrap up. We're almost done. We have one more panel session, and then we have our awards. Are you curious to know who wins our money? Because we have a lot of money. A lot of money to give out. First, second, and third prize goes home with 250,000 naira for the first prize, 150,000 for the second prize, and 100,000 for the third prize. So I hope you stick around to the awards to know, did the person you were guessing would win, did they end up winning? I'm also curious to know. So Chidebere says, this is amazing. Well done to the contestants and the judges. Okay, lots of comments from Rumi. Mordecai, I love your comments. Okay, let's see, has it uploaded? Okay, I think I see your presentation now.
Is it up now?
Yeah, so I'm going to be handing it over to Dean for his keynote. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hosting me. It's really exciting to be here and just to see the energy and the excitement, both online leading up to the event and here today. I am going to speak regarding a book that I wrote. It's called Innovation at Microsoft. We launched it in conjunction with the company's 50th anniversary, which was April this past year. And we really wanted to summarize, what can you learn from Microsoft's 50 years of innovation, and how can everyone in any business, any industry, apply it to their careers? Is the slide, it's got what can you learn from 50 years of innovation, that's up and full screen now? Sorry,
Yeah, it's on the screen. You can move the slides.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Okay. So let's see. And is it advancing now or not?
It's not advancing.
Okay, let me try again. I'll try it from the upload because I think that's going to work better for me.
Okay.
So I'll stop sharing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what our friends are saying about AI while you do that. Chinacherem says, as AI tools become more independent and able to make decisions on their own, what steps should we take to make sure they don't cause harm? And how can we constantly check that they follow safe and responsible rules? This whole session was covered on the panel right before this one. And I'll tell you, the beautiful thing about this conference is that it's recorded, so you can watch it again and again. We had a session on cybersecurity, responsible and ethical AI use, and I would encourage you to just go back and watch the recording once we are done streaming. Gloria says, education is the key to life. Mordecai, I love your innovation for the African generations. That is good. Dean, are you uploading a PowerPoint?
Yeah, it's uploading again. I think it will work this time. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
The other time I was presenting from my laptop, but then it wasn't advancing for me.
Yeah. So Elizabeth says, well done to all the contestants. Okay. And then let's see what more people are saying. We have someone from Turkey. He says, you are a biochemist. Okay, that's nice. That's really, really good. Thank you for letting me know. Lots of clapping emoji, lots of people keeping the energy high. So remember the announcement I made. Once Dean is done with his keynote, the final session of this conference, we are really almost done. We have one more panel session, and then we'll be announcing the award winners. We are going to be moving to a new stream. The link is on the chat. You can click the link once I give you the prompt, and then you know that we are going to be moving to a new stream. Let's see. Okay, I think we have it now. So see if it advances.
Yeah, that is probably going to be my problem. So.
Oh, good. That works.
Okay. And then when I go forward, perfect. Okay. Let's. Good. All right. So I will go a little faster here because we've missed a little time. Fundamental, the most important learning from our research to write this book can be summarized in essentially 3 words: discipline, people, and joy. And when we researched the most innovative teams at Microsoft, we found those words coming up over and over and over again. And I'll speak briefly to each of them. Discipline was this really important concept in approaching innovation because we find there's often this perception that innovation just happens, that an idea comes out of the blue, strikes you like a bolt of lightning, and you have an innovation. And we found that the teams that had really mastered it had brought a very clear, well-defined process to innovation that they ran over and over and over, just like any other aspect of their business. Now, I won't go into a ton of detail here given our time, but one of the things that was most, we saw it everywhere we did the research, was discipline in vocabulary. People had very specific terms that they would use to make innovation easier to understand, easier to follow. Just 2 examples. The best innovators, anytime they were trying something new, they would define a learning objective and a project objective. And the reason they would do that is a project could fail, but it could deliver the needed learnings, and therefore it wasn't a failure. And they broke away from this idea that if something doesn't work, we've wasted our time, we've missed an opportunity. In fact, if something doesn't work, you've got a learning opportunity, which over time is the best and the most important input for innovation. The second one that we found was really precisely handled was people were very specific. Are we talking about an incremental innovation or a disruptive innovation? And having a distinct definition of the 2 really helped people to talk about and plan innovation better. Now, what's really interesting about disruptive innovation, it's where you change the game. In incremental innovation, you play the game a little better. In disruptive innovation, you change the game. And at Microsoft, we learned this the hard way when Google came in and fundamentally created this very different way of doing search, this different way of monetizing search, and disrupted the whole ecosystem, which we never fully came back from or recovered from. So in the book, we've got a lot of practical tips for how to bring discipline and structure to the innovation process. The one that I like best is from Xbox. And Xbox, which is our gaming console and is now more of a gaming service, they have this wonderful framework when they're looking at an innovative opportunity, and it's called BXT. B, any innovation has to have a business justification, a profit model. X, it has to have a great and differentiated experience for the user. And T, there has to be supporting technology to actually deliver it. And Xbox leaders will not make a big decision without having people in the room to represent B, X, and T. And this ensures that they don't go out and build technology that's cool, but nobody wants, or they build something that everyone wants, but isn't profitable. So the simple discipline of that framework really helps them in their decision-making with regards to all the innovative work that they do. There was one other sort of story from the book, which is failure is an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to come back stronger. And if I had more time, I'd tell the story of Bing and how Bing lost to Google, but then came back in the AI wave. But I'm going to keep moving quickly. But the idea of being disciplined about accepting failure, learning from it, and coming back and trying harder is just a key lesson throughout the book and throughout our research. People. Okay. When we set out to write this book, I said to my co-author, I said, I don't want to put a single person's name in the book. I don't want to quote anyone. I want this all to be about structure, process, discipline, all these classic business school ideas. We didn't even get through one chapter before I realized this book is fundamentally about people, and innovation is about people. And if you don't put people at the heart of it, you won't succeed. There's a number of really interesting practices that we wrote about, but the one I love is the idea of thinking about the people you work with in the context of the 3 phases of innovation. Discovery, where you learn something new. Design, where you figure out how it could deliver value to a customer. And develop, where you actually go out and build the thing. And what we found was that there are really 3 types of people at Microsoft, or personalities in terms of the work people love. Pioneers are great in the discovery phase. They are out there breaking new ground, learning, experimenting. Settlers bring a little more structure to that and a little more organization, and they are great in the design phase. And town planners. And these are the people who kind of run operations when they're mature. And I bet everyone in this room can look at those 3 designations and pretty quickly realize I'm a pioneer or a settler or a town planner. What often happens is managers don't put people in the right phase given their work style. And then we found this 4th personality, which was boundary crossers. And I was so glad when we discovered this because I realized that's what I am. I'm a boundary crosser. I network inside the company, outside the company. I make connections. I shepherd an innovation across different teams. And so, and I heard in some of the earlier conversation, the importance of building the network before you need it. People that are boundary crossers are really good at that. So the other thing that came through in the research was when people want their organization to be more innovative, they have special techniques for recruiting innovative talent. And the one that I really loved the most was at the bottom here is Xbox. And at Microsoft for a long time, we've said we're going to hire for cultural fit. We want people who will fit with the culture of the company we're running. In fact, you know, Xbox flipped that on its head and they said, we want culture ads. We want people who build our culture and move it in a certain direction. We're going to look for that in the recruiting process. So a lot of good ways of, you know, bringing, screening in innovative talent. And then this is, you know, I just love, this is my former boss, the chief scientist at Microsoft. And he just said, you are who you hire, which is absolutely true. And then the final point, and I heard it throughout some of the earlier conversations, innovation, when we went out and we researched all these teams, the thing we noticed over and over was how joyful they were. And it wasn't a casual joy of just feeling happy in the day-to-day. It was the joy that comes with being mission-oriented and focusing on something that's going to change the world and building something new. And we coined this term, serious joy. And it was so obvious in these innovative companies, and they were so passionate. And I saw exactly that in all of the pitches in the session just before this, just energy, excitement, joy, happiness, optimism. And that's what I always encourage people to build your career around something you love and where you can innovate and create something new, because you will have tremendous joy as a result of doing that. So that is my presentation on the book. And I know we are at, it's 10 o'clock my time. I had a few more slides on how we're adopting AI at Microsoft, but if we want to be punctual, Dr. Amaka, I can wrap it up right here.
Thank you so much, Dean. I think you can have 5 more minutes to kind of wrap up your thoughts because the other session kind of flowed into your keynotes. I think it's good. Yes.
Okay. And for the book talk, I'll stop here. We have 2 QR codes. There's a learning community that you can join, the code on the left, and it's free, and you'll just get you become part of our learning community who talk about innovation. And then on the right, you can follow me on LinkedIn, and I will post just latest thinking or any new research that's coming out. So let me just talk a little bit about how we're adopting AI at Microsoft, and honestly, how hard it is. And that probably is surprising, coming from a company that is building AI. But what we have found is that building AI is one thing. Integrating AI into how you work is actually hard. And it's hard for 4 reasons. And I would imagine this probably resonates, hopefully, with folks on the call. Changing your culture as a company and adopting AI is hard because people have very little time. They're incredibly busy in their day-to-day. And someone mentioned this in the competition, AI is a moving target. It just doesn't slow down. There's a lot of hype around AI, and we don't know whether it's all real or true. And then the last point is, often the integrating AI to some of the ways we do business and our systems is super hard. So we have a couple of recommendations for each of these. The first one is, and it's probably the most important, use AI to learn about AI. There's just so much information out there, but if you go to a chatbot, like we have Copilot, OpenAI has ChatGPT, there's many others, and put it in research mode, which they all have this, it can read all the news on AI, all the latest research, all the product releases, and it can summarize you, and in 10 minutes a day, you can get incredibly up to speed on AI. So that kind of helps the first 2. The other recommendation we have with people is constantly experiment with AI. And whatever AIs you have access to, get on, use them, and then come back a month later and try to do the same thing. Because what we find is the AI is improving so fast that often people won't be able to get it to do something this month, but actually next month it's totally capable. So just experiment and have fun with it. I do it with my kids. We sit down and we talk to Copilot and we ask it questions and we have it write code and stand up a little gaming website for us and, have fun with it. The third is you don't have to know all AI. You just need to know the part that's going to be relevant to you. So think about yourself, your work, your career. Think about where a specific subset of AI can help and be very targeted because it is a broad area and it's impossible to just master it all. And then the last is have fun with it and really kind of think of it as something that is expanding, giving you superpowers, expanding what you can do, and just make it a habit to kind of come in and do a little bit every day and then share with other people. Anytime I meet someone new, not the first thing, I ask about their family and where they come from, where they live. But immediately after that, I was like, do you use AI? Oh, yeah. What's working? What's not? What do you wish you could do? And it's on everyone's mind. So just solicit opinions and get points of view and learn from others. So those are kind of the recommendations specifically in relation to AI. And as I say, we're Microsoft, we're struggling with it. So don't be afraid and don't feel like you've fallen behind. Just dive in and embrace it.
Thank you so much for those deep insights, Dean. Thank you very much. I'm going to allow time for one question. There's a couple of questions, but one of them, it's here on the screen. Chiamaka, she says, do you think AI workflows can help entrepreneurs reduce bottlenecks in support and sales while still maintaining the human touch?
That is an excellent question. Yeah, thank you for that. So with everything, the way we think about AI at Microsoft, we think of human AI synergy or human AI collaboration. And so there's always going to be a need for human interaction. What we suggest people do is, it's typically, AI tends to be very good at the work you hate. And it's very good at summarizing a lot of information or filling out paperwork or reading, your full inbox and giving you recommendations. So what you want to do is take the drudge work and try to give that to AI, and you will actually find that you have more time to spend with customers. And so I actually do think you can have both, but you have to be thoughtful about where you bring the AI in. And so that the question is a perfect example of thinking of a specific workflow, thinking where the human is most important, which would be in those interactions, and where it really doesn't require a human's empathy or personal touch, summarizing the emails or doing back office work. So human AI synergy is what you want, and I think it's completely possible. In fact, that's kind of how we've done it with our own sales and support.
Right. Thank you so much for that wonderful keynote, Dean. It's been so insightful. Thank you for taking time out of your Sunday morning to be here, to share, to judge. I appreciate it, and I do not take it for granted. Steve is trying to get in touch with you, so maybe check your email or LinkedIn. He just wants you guys to have a conversation on the judging so that you can get the results back to me quickly.
Yes.
To be announced in the next 1 hour. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for working on this. I truly, truly appreciate it. Have a good rest of your
Thank you so much for having me. It's appreciated. Bye-bye.
All right, everyone. How are we feeling? Let's reset the energy. This is the last session for this stream. As I mentioned, I'm going to be ending this stream and transitioning to the last stream where we would have just one more panel session, and then we will announce the winners. So the Ascension ScholarUP Global Conference is gradually winding down, and I'm so excited. Like, my excitement to think that this project is like 2 hours from 2 hours to the end of it. It makes me super, super happy. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for keeping the chat ready. The link has been on the chat for a while. Even if you don't see the link, all you have to do is search my name on LinkedIn. You can easily join. Search my name on YouTube. You can easily join. Or search ScholarUP Mentoring Academy on Facebook. And then you'll be easy. It will be very easy for you to join the link. So this is not goodbye. This is just see you in the next few minutes, right? Even less than few minutes. So I'll end this stream and start the other one.